durability. The infused anti-rust option that is FDA safe and free of harmful chemicals. The organization... I hide in the back corner when I'm not presenting.
Listening in.
And listen in.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bass University Live here on Tuesday night.
Take a quick break, watch John Cruz's on the Tokyo rig.
Be a part of the show, get some chances to win some awesome prizes.
This Bass you go. You know, we didn't have that back then. And dude, it was just...
That text thread gives me so much energy. I mean, like I'm dialed.
Coming off of a big couple of weekends, Bass University. Probably a lot of you guys were there with us via Zoom. We had a blast. Saw some just blowing your hair back moments, information about stuff that is really revolutionary in the sport of fishing. Some of the best speakers in the world as usual. And we're going to be talking about that tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We got some question and answers. Put on your thinking cap, guys. We're going to be asking you some really cool stuff about what we learned in these last two Bass University weekends. So get ready, get your clicker button ready to go, get your typing fingers ready, and we're going to have some fun doing that. We're also going to be talking, we got an update about our anglers' rights, I don't know, what do we call it, initiative here at the Bass University. And I've got my good friend with me again, Craig Duran. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, good. Good to be here.
The Eco Bass Angler is in the house, and you're gonna be giving us an update shortly about what's happening in that arena.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate you bringing some light to it and keeping it on the forefront.
Absolutely. Well, it's important to all of us. No matter where you fish around the country, we're all dealing with some issues, from getting access to lakes, being able to fish in certain areas of water, and what you can and can't do. And we as anglers need a voice. And I appreciate you helping us have a voice here at the Bass University in these arenas. So we're going to be diving into that. We also have Dan Quinn, the man from Rapala, however you say it. It's right both ways, just so you know. Got some great new stuff coming out. We're going to be talking about Balsa crankbaits. We're going to be talking about the OG Slim, the OG Tiny, the flat sides. So get your crankbait questions ready to go. And Dan's going to be with us talking about everything crankbait fishing tonight. So look for that happening a little bit later on. So it's going to be a great show. BTC, Riz, we're up and running, man.
That's right. Like always.
Did we make it at 7 o'clock? I didn't notice.
It was probably
pretty close.
7 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to be back. It's good to be back in studio, honestly, and good to see you guys face to face. We had to go just to kind of give our speakers the best chance of avoiding having to go into COVID restrictions prior to the tournaments. We had to go virtual. Hopefully, it's the last time we're going to be virtual. We want to get back into the classroom with you guys real soon. So, but it was great. Riz, you were with me for almost the last 2 weekends. We saw some stuff and heard some stuff that revolutionary.
We sure did, man. I can't wait to get out and start trying some of these things. I can't wait for the world to unthaw around here. It seems like pretty much everywhere's been locked up for, I don't know, what, Craig, about 5 days?
Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah.
There's only so many FG knots you can tie in your spare time.
Yeah. Only so many treble hooks you can dig into your hands while you're trying to change them out. But,
it's a good time to learn that FG knot.
It is.
This is for us anyway.
I spent an off season taking treble hooks and turning them.
Yeah.
Do you remember who was it?
Remember they had a hook that was manufactured.
That's what I'm saying. There was a
Yeah.
treble hook.
The Excalibur.
Excalibur, yeah.
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 Yep.
I still have some Norman's crankbaits with those rotated trebles. About 30 years
Are
old.
you rotating? You still do that?
No, but they're still rotated.
I got
They
you.
didn't on rotate.
They cost me fish. I didn't like that
Still
hook.
throwing the same
Did they?
treble hooks.
Yeah, I didn't like that hook at all. I lost fish on it right away. Like the first one I threw, I'm like, oh, this is a cool idea. And I rolled it out and like lost the first 2 or 3 fish I had on it. I'm
That
like,
was it?
man. Yeah, I'm like, that hook got fired quick. you know.
Quick.
Super quick. But it was a neat idea, neat concept, and they're continuing to morph hooks, and we'll talk about the VMC hybrid hooks tonight with DQ, which is a phenomenal hook, and there's so much going on in the world of treble hooks, and even adding flash to the trebles as a trailer. Damn. Some of the guys were talking about that. One of our speakers was it Matt Airy? I can't remember. One of them is using that hook and raving about the importance of it, especially using it at the front of the bait.
Oh, the bladed treble?
Yeah, the bladed treble.
Yeah, it's a bad dude.
Yeah, it's a killer. So
Yes, it is. What bait's he putting it on?
jerk bait.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. But I mean, like, you can't totally diss that rotating treble because maybe that wasn't a really sharp hook, or maybe their hooks weren't that sharp.
Yeah, I'm
because you rotate it, you kind of open up the bite a little bit,
Yeah, what it comes down to me is your strike to catch ratio, and the way I'm rigged, and the way and if I'm missing the fish.
No, I get that.
Yeah, you got to. But a guy that's rigged differently or sets the hook differently than me might have a lot of success with that treble hook.
But maybe you were counter rotating your hook set.
Maybe so.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds like too much to think about.
Too much.
Yeah,
It's
Got
complicated.
a reverse corkscrew when you set the hook.
Yeah.
I'm out.
There's a lot to it, but you got to keep those fish pinned, and like Alex does. Alex, the intern, is with us. How are you tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good, Pete. I'm back and very excited to be joining on this another week of Bass U Live. I remember when Dan was on last year; it was a great show, so I'm excited to hear from him again this year and hopefully fill another page out of the old notebook.
Yep. Hey, Dan's the best. He comes from a great fishing family and is always full of knowledge about all things fishing and the pros and bodies of water. It's pretty awesome. But as I look at you, we had a mustache contest at this weekend's Bass University. We needed to enter you into that contest, man.
I must have missed out on that one. I'll be sure that when we're in the classroom next time, I'll have the biggest Lorax fighter mustache you can possibly have. I'll grow it out. I'll put the Miracle Grow on her for you, Pete.
We look forward to it. I thought Patrick Walters grew a mustache just for the Bass University, I think.
A mistake stash?
Nah, I don't know. Just,
He had the Wyatt Earp look.
yeah, Wyatt Earp.
Wyatt Earp?
That's right.
Yeah.
It was kind of pointy on the sides, going out to the sides. That Wyatt Earp. That's a
Wyatt
good
Earp
way to
wore
characterize
really short shorts and
hanging out of his shorts.
Dude, so I got something here on the message board I got to throw out there because it's awesome. Jay Water this morning caught a 12-pounder on Toho. He said he just got off the water. He's at the fish camp. He just hopped inside so we can watch Bass U Live, but he caught a 12-pounder today on Toho. So charge the batteries, boys. Let's go to Toho.
Welcome to the fish camp. That's awesome. I wonder if you're staying at the fish camp on East Lake Toho. That's the one me and Mike used to always stay there.
what do you catch it on?
Sadly, it was live shiner fishing with some buddies. They don't throw artificial. Just some good old boys having a good time.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
Brian's like, I'm in. Let's go.
Here's to a good time, buddy.
That's it. It's funny because I was just talking to a friend of mine who was down at the headwaters, and he was fishing artificials, but there was, Roland Martin had guys out shiner fishing on the headwaters. Yeah. And he's like, you could hear him over the reeds. Son! Son! Doing classic Roland Martin stuff, That's fun. I like fishing shiners. I don't do it that much. I've done it just a few times. But, man, it's a thrill. You got that float out there, and that shiner starts getting nervous. That float starts bouncing around. He starts doing circles and jumping, and it's on. Yeah. I enjoy that. My dad always loved to bait fish.
Yeah.
And I that was just ingrained in me, and I love artificials, obviously, in terms that's my thing, but I still like to bait fish once in a while.
What was your dad's job? What did he do?
He was an accountant.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he should have had enough energy for artificials. I mean, working man might want to relax. And
I get it.
Throw some live bait, but
drawing the parallel.
yeah, he probably should have got
Not.
throw a chatterbait or something,
Yeah.
spinnerbait.
I just think he'd like to get out of the house, man. You know, get away from the honeydew list. He'd put his folding chair down, get his cooler full of sandwiches.
Hell yeah.
And we would sit down by the creek on the banks of Mattawoman Creek till the sun would go down, and then we'd have a bonfire.
Heck
You
yeah.
know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great way. Taught me and my brother to love fishing, and what a great way to do it. Highly recommend it.
Ham and cheese, mustard.
All of that. You know, Mom would pack our sandwiches for
Oh.
us. You know, it was back in the day when moms did that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Saying they don't.
Well, there's a lot of dual working families. Everybody's got to pitch in, you know.
This is
but
true. That's
Mom,
true.
Mom was a homemaker for us when we were little, and we were fortunate to have that for us. But we had a blast fishing live. But we still fished little minnows and, and earthworms for yellow perch.
Oh, man.
And the perch runs. Oh my God! Every single cast, you catch them.
That's awesome.
Man, what a neat deal.
I used to buy goldfish at the pet store and go pickerel fishing. A great pickerel bait, if you can imagine, a goldfish hooked in the back.
That's why we see goldfish out on the flats.
Yeah,
even
probably.
today.
Yeah.
Contributing to all the invasive species.
Yeah.
I actually started them around Batstow Village in the Pine Barrens. They made their way all the way to the flats.
Yep.
Imagine that.
This is the root of the Asian carp problem that we're currently experiencing in the country.
Yeah,
right
I don't
now.
want to hear that. Goldfish is because of the carnivals at the flats. They dump the. I know what goes on over there at Havre de Grace. I've seen the ice cream truck.
Love it, guys. It's going to be a fun show. Hang out with us. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back with Bass University Live.
AquaView, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. AquaView. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love catching fish and rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out doing a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
We're different. Some would say obsessed. There's no place on earth we'd rather be than right here, right now. Performance-driven gear, so you can fish longer, harder. Gill's Performance Fishing.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Bass University Live. So glad to have you guys with us. Hey, guess what? If you're not a member of Bass U Live, get your butt subscribed. It's 60 days free right now. This 60-day trial is going to go away. We offer it this time of year. It's a new year, new you. Go over and take your 60 days and come check out Bass University. We offer 2 instructional seminars released each and every week. At a minimum, we have a lot of additional stuff that we have with interviews, some remastered stuff. So we bring brand new content to you every single week. Got a lot of great stuff for you. If you're a subscriber, we have the Pro Member Benefits, which is a 40% off Rapala, Storm, VMC, Suffix line. It's all available for you, and that's just one of the opportunities that you have for being a subscriber at Bass University TV. But our number one focus is to help you become a better angler, and that's why we spent the last 2 months preparing some amazing instructional content that is really going to help you become a better angler. And that's just some of what we got there. And we got some other stuff going on tonight, Riz. What do we got happening tonight?
That's right. As always, we got 2 Gills Gear gift cards going out the door, $25 gift cards for people that get questions through to the show. In addition to that, we have a Facebook like and share for the people watching over there on Facebook. Just like and share tonight's feed, and you'll be entered in for a chance to win 6 Rapala DT baits and OG Slims.
Wait, breaking news. Like, share, and 3 questions, comments on Facebook.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. Let's up the ante. Come on, let's interact. So also, we have tonight a grand prize going on, and that is going to be 12 OG Slims and Rapala DT baits, and that's only going out the door for a Bass University TV subscriber. Guys, so if you want a chance to win that, right now is a great time to get signed up. 60 days for free, and we are dropping 3 new videos a week. I'm excited about some of the ones we're about to release, Pete, because I was filming them, and one of them was umbrella rigs with Shane LaHue, and I may or may not have caught my first A-rig fish on that shoot. So I'm pretty stoked to let that one out. That one out of the bag.
Was it maybe your first spot too?
No, I've caught spots, but this was my first Alabama rig fish, and I set the hook just like I did with the blade bait fish on Gunnersville.
With the mini hooked blade bait?
Absolutely, just gave them all the gas, and it was awesome. So
I love it, Riz.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to give you a noodle rod to set the hook with when we're dealing with small hooks.
Yeah,
I don't think you can turn that hook set off, so we got to make it up somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, all 9 hooks were getting set on that thing. It didn't matter which one was getting bit. If it was a dummy hook, that fish was still coming in the boat.
I know the dummy hooks didn't have a bite, and the hook was still straightened out after the hook set, just from water pressure. It's fun to watch. Love the enthusiasm, you know. So, but it was a lot going on, and you got to get out on the water with Shane, the man,
awesome.
Shane's Baits, building some of the most amazing umbrella rigs.
Yeah, they named them after him.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And really cool stuff, because I remember we had them on. I guess we interviewed them at the Classic one year.
G-ville.
The really unique component about those rigs were how they've modified the heads to be able to fish them in shallower water situations. They have all kinds of lightweight, super light, rigging systems for them. And they're not heavy by themselves, so you can fish it slower and shallower than you can a lot of the other umbrella rigs.
Yep.
Really innovative what they've done.
And it's amazing because, like, he says, and other umbrella rig guys will say, yeah, just fish it just like you would a spinnerbait. And I've never thrown an A-rig before that. So, I mean, I'm around docks, and I'm throwing it, and I'm just kind of winding. I'm like, man, this doesn't really feel like anything's going on. I start giving it a couple twitches like I would a spinnerbait, and all of a sudden, bam,
boom,
there he is.
How
so
about it?
It's pretty cool stuff, man. I look forward to throwing it again sometime.
BTC?
Great story about that event that you brought up. So, yeah, it was the Gunnersville Classic. That's when I brought my boat down to it. We had the Ike Live tracker in the booth that we're doing our interviews. So, like, a lot of stuff maybe got left in the boat, bottles of tin cup whiskey and other things.
No.
Maybe a whole bag of Shane Baits A-rigs that were supposed to go to Pete.
Along with my glide baits. You're developing a collection.
What else is it? What else is in the hull of that boat?
so that like
all the beer cans that the Missile Baits guys drank of ours.
Don't Byron. But brought home So last year, I guess it was spring of last year, I had a flambeau box full of all them A-rigs still in their plastic tubes, ready to go, man. I was fired up for an A-rig last year, and had it in a hatch in the boat that.
Oh no!
Once you hit allegedly 90 miles an hour, this one hatch will open up, and sometimes some things eject. And
oh
yeah,
Man,
sucks.
That's a shame. I thought you were going to tell me you got water in there and they all rusted out on you or something like that.
Nah, they landed on 295.
Donated to the interstate.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Well, it's going to be karma, which is going to serve you again.
Fair enough.
For the glide baits you ripped off from me. So, but what a great bait. Go check out Shane's Baits, and it's going to help your A-rig fishing.
No doubt. 16-ounce heads.
Yeah.
16-ounce heads.
Yep, and the hitchhikers too, which are weightless. Yep. You know, it's so much that they've advanced there. All the components are available for you there, and on Tackle Warehouse too. So
I threw them with no heads, all of them at the same time, right out of the back of the boat on the highway. Catch a damn thing.
The kid got lucky, right? Side of the road.
They now belong to the people of the forest.
Your catch rate's definitely going to go down with that technique.
It did. It was sad.
But hey, a lot of you guys remember Craig. Craig's been on the show. He is, a lot of you guys might know him as Eco Bass Angler. And he's my friend. We've worked together. We used to work together 100 years ago in the environmental field. I used to do that before I started this fishing thing. And Craig, you stayed steady. You know, you're president of TTI Environmental, and you're very active in the environmental world in a lot of different ways. But right now, you're taking on something, and I think it's really cool. We've all kind of gotten involved with the anglers' rights issue. On bodies of water going on everywhere, but we've got some stuff going on right here that's kind of getting hot and heavy right now.
It is. It's when you start to examine and see what's going on. You know, we had a couple weeks ago folks on from Greenwood, and when you start seeing and hearing, you know, that story come out, and then you start hearing about other bodies of water around the area. Brian, you know, brought up Alloway, you know, and the challenges that we're facing there. There's a lot of work to be done by us as a community, you know, to try to turn that tide, and, you know, if you will, you know, to get us make sure that we're protecting our access rights.
And I think being a community is great, because we need that, right? We've got Gene Gilliland over at Bassmasters, who's heading up a lot of this nationwide, and he sees what's going on around here, and he's gotten involved with it,
and he's saying to, hey, you know, make friends with the jet skiers, right? You know, as a joke, to get on the, you know, to make sure that we're on the body of water.
Right. Why is that? Yeah, because we share the same cause. We all want access.
Right.
We all have the rights to have access. So even though I know a lot of you guys want to throw your Zara spooks at the jet skiers sometimes, at this instance, right, we're all fighting for the same cause. So it's important for us to recognize that and become friends with a group like that.
You know, right here in New Jersey, and we had Lou on a couple weeks ago, Lou Martinez. I like to call him Uncle Lou. He talked about the New Jersey Federation of Sportsmen, right? That's a really instrumental organization for us to be involved in. In fact, that organization represents 10 associations or 10 organizations, New Jersey Bass being one of them, Ducks Unlimited being one of them, New Jersey Trout Unlimited, and a bunch of others. And so they bring the voice of all the sportsmen together for a legislative or an administrative push, if you will, right? So there's like, I'll probably get the numbers wrong, but let's say there's about 170,000 members in New Jersey, and they all have chapters in this organization. So, you know, my one big takeaway is that the bass fishing community needs to be active in that organization, because they're the organization that brings our voice to Trenton, right? They're the ones who have people appointed to the Fish and Game Council, and they're going to represent our interests, collective with bow hunters, with Ducks Unlimited, with even the buggy organization, the guys that ride out on the beach and surf fish on the beach. They're part of it as well. So that's that was a big takeaway for me. It's like we're not alone, but we have to be more active in who we're working with. You know, we talked about the Alloway situation in down here, you know, in Salem County, and gosh, you know, in I think it was like 2009, or going back. Brian, is that the right date? You remember when Alloway?
I don't know exactly when it
was. They passed an ordinance after they built a dam, right? Then they passed that.
Right. The state came. It was lake. The state came in and rebuilt the dam and created public access.
Correct.
For all anglers to take advantage of this body of water.
Right. They basically lost their dam, and in order to get their dam back, they had to take a grant, and they had to pay more taxes.
Right.
Individual. But I think the dam was towards $5 million. The grant was, $2 or $3 million, right? Let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So they took a lot of money, and they built a public access area, and then the township writes an ordinance of how that public access can be used.
And they cut the anglers out.
Well,
slowly they pull things away. They start squeezing you. They put a boat length limit on there. They put no outboard motors hanging off the back of the boats.
Right.
No tournaments. They charge you to launch your boat. No, they charge you to park because they can't legally charge you to launch. Just a bunch of moves like that.
Fake cameras.
There was like 5 amendments to the ordinance, right? And so, when talking to folks at Fish and Game Council, the guy Frank that listened in.
Yep, Frank Virgilio.
Virgilio, yeah. I mean, he's a bigwig up at the Fish and Game Council. He said, well, you had your opportunity, right? They post these ordinance changes, and nobody pushed back. Nobody resisted, right? So it happened.
Nobody knew because it was in a newspaper,
right?
Some
so
obscure newspaper.
That's my point. I'm going to go to the meeting on February 8th up in Trenton, and that's the point I want to make. It's like, okay, we're supposed to shed some light on these things that they're going to be changes, right? But we're working, we're fishing, we're raising families. Are we really looking at the Alloway website or some newspaper?
Yeah.
It just seems a little. I don't want to,
we all know
not take the responsibility, but hey, they're posting it. How long do they leave it up?
Where do they post it?
Where do they post it? Right. My thing is this: we have to every year we buy a fishing license, right? And we have to fill out, answer all kinds of crazy questions about a fishing license, and we put all this information down. The state has our contact information.
Child support.
Child support.
Tests,
COVID test, whatever. But. I would like to see.
They have a pregnancy test.
To get a fishing license, believe it or not. Yeah.
Any access question that comes up on a body of water in New Jersey, any boating question,
it should just click of a
there
button.
should be an email. I can get an intern in 30 minutes write a program to do that.
Yeah.
Right. They got a database. They got all our emails. Let's change that. They can put it in a newspaper for 72 hours or whatever they do. That's just. Maybe that worked in the 1950s, but I don't see it happening
it's
now.
Probably Salem County newspaper. I don't know, but it's pretty desolate down there.
We have a responsibility to see it. From what
for sure.
But if it's not real visible,
we have a right to see it.
If the public notice of it is weak, then I think that's what I want to get behind. I want to change that. I want the public notice to be a little bit more visible.
Yeah,
so we can
leverage
respond or
technology.
react.
Yeah, we can react.
Right.
Yeah,
and the other part is there is a fair amount of culpability on our part. We've been down here in South Jersey for all our lives, and there's organizations that exist that I had never heard about until now.
Right.
Right. And and again, because of where we live, there's all these. It's all small clubs with no central organization, and that needs to change. We have no central voice, no central way of communicating. It's just everybody,
Exactly, Brian. The New Jersey, Federation of Sportsmen, it's $40 a year to join. We should all be members of it. It's really that simple, and they have chapters in every county. They have delegates. I can't believe at my age I'm sort of figuring out that all this really exists out there.
I had no idea.
But
I'm not as old as you, but
I hear it. And NJ Bass is part of it. Woo! NJ Bass is part of it, right? And we got to encourage them to be more active
for sure
with that. That's the one big takeaway for me. It's like, hey, well, we had our opportunity, but and they changed the rules like 5 times. I went through and I highlighted every time they made a change.
And they weren't.
Nobody pushed back.
Nobody pushed back.
The organization did for
the Alloway. Yeah, the local ordinance 42.
Yep.
Whatever. It's simple. They have stuff on there. You can't expose yourself. You can't grow weed around the lake. Okay, right? But you can't have a boat bigger than 18 feet. You can't have a boat with a gas engine or gas container on the boat at all. You can have a tournament. It's $100 to apply for a permit. It's got to be 60 days out, and But you can't have a boat over 18 feet.
I got you.
And so you can apply for a permit, but the guys in the state were saying to me, well, if you guys want to apply for a permit, maybe you can ask for an exception.
I don't
know.
To go to who for what?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe because they got $2.6 million in taxes to make up on the I don't know. I mean,
quite a few tournaments.
Okay, so when they make up that 2.6,
yeah,
that's
free.
when that ramp closes, right?
Yeah. And I looked into the ordinance about the times you were talking about. They specifically list when that park will be open, the times it will be open, and the season it will be. It's right in the ordinance, and they can change that whenever they want in that ordinance without
I think a boat ramp should never ever be closed.
I agree.
Ever.
I agree.
There's no moving parts.
I like
It's a piece of concrete.
I like to fish at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, get over it. Security issues. I don't know.
What the hell? Why do we put these time limits on stuff? It's beautiful out at night.
Yeah, I would agree, but I guess the point is that they're clamping the noose, they're tightening it and tightening it and tightening it because we didn't know this was even going on as anglers and people that use the waterway. And then this is kind of a small issue, but I think
they just closed the bear hunt in Jersey, and within the last 2 weeks there were 2 bear attacks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Overpopulation.
Is that right?
Just like the deer.
Yep.
I mean, there's deer everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bear is probably going to end up just the same way.
I think it's just
in your backyard and stuff.
It's a great exercise what you're doing, Craig. It's kind of setting a process and trying to get people involved, and
sure,
because there's a lot bigger issues out there, and we just need us as anglers to have a voice, I'm glad we're giving them. What's the federal? What do we need to join here locally?
Yeah, the New Jersey Federation of Sportsmen.
Federation of Sportsmen. Yeah. New Jersey Federation of Sportsmen. See if you can pull that website up, Rich, and throw that link out.
$40 to join. The gentleman, you have a delegate here in Salem County. Mm-hmm. They have chapter meetings.
You're going. All right, that's the federation. What meeting are you attending?
I'm going to go to the New Jersey Fish and Game Council meeting.
Okay.
Which is a council made up, appointed 6 from the federation are appointed. They're governor-appointed positions, right? So Frank, that was on our show, he's the chair of that committee. So he's taking this issue of access, specifically Alloway, to Trenton on February 8th. So that's cool. I mean, he's going to talk about it. We're going to air it out. We're going to, hopefully learn something from it and see maybe there's a friendly way that anglers can get back to using Alloway Lake.
Yeah. Yep.
And
if not, I don't know what the answer is, but I don't want to see it.
I don't get there from the Delaware River.
I don't want to see it happen again.
You can do it.
Is my point too, though, right? Yeah, I just learned in Burlington County, Swedes Lake. I used to fish it all the time.
Yep.
Growing up with a trolling motor.
They chase you out.
No electric motors now. 2 years ago, they cut an electric motor. Well, why?
It's like 50-50 now. Sometimes you get ran out of there.
Sometimes you get ran. Yeah. Are you still going there?
I mean, yeah. I mean, not to say that I have. I mean, maybe not.
Tell me what day. I mean, I used to go there.
Depends who's home that day.
Yeah. Okay. I used to go a lot over there, and throw a tracker in or whatever, and they had a dirt ramp, but we used an electric motor. And, it was decent little lake, but they cut that out. So how did that happen?
The reason is just to cut numbers because they
well,
I mean,
as my son said, if they could put up a no fishing sign, they would.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He looks at it like, well, they're just trying to box us out. Hey, boat can't be 18 feet.
Yeah.
Well, most bass boats are over 18 feet. Can't have gas engine. Most bass boats. Who's going to spend the money to pull an engine off a boat so they can go fish Alloway? Right? It doesn't make sense.
No, yeah. It's
so is it thought out?
Absolutely.
So it's like thought out restrictions.
No doubt. We got to give ourselves a fair shot as anglers too from multiple sides of the coin here in the sense that we got to push back on issues like this and, being pushed out of places that we can fish. Now, the other side of the coin is that when you get put in these situations where somebody's maybe trying to tell you that you can't fish on an area, there's a few ways you can go about it. You can flip your lid and make the situation way worse than it was in the beginning. Or you can take an approach of trying to understand where they're coming from and helping them understand where you're coming from and helping them realize that you being out fishing, you're not there to take fish out of their lake. You're not there to litter the place up. In fact, we're there to put fish back in your lake, and we're most likely picking up some of the litter that people that aren't fishing are leaving behind. So, you know, I think there's a lot of different angles that we got to take on this fight. And part of it's, you know, pushing the issue through, you know, the up north in Trenton, whatever's going on up there. And then the other side of it is, man, let's make sure that people that aren't into fishing know where we're coming from as bass anglers, and that we are essentially just we're stewards of the land. You know, we're not there to tear the place up.
Right.
We're there because we want it to be a sustainable resource that we can continue to do for a long time. So, you know, you got there has to be a balance in how you take the fight at these things. Don't always just, as soon as somebody says, hey, you can't be here and this is why, you can't just throw back at them right away. Try to take a little bit more tactful approach to some of these things.
Watch Brian contemplating taking that position out on the water.
Straight jacket with Brian with you.
I hear what you're saying.
Muzzle.
Sometimes it's harder than others.
Well, it all depends on a lot of things.
Well, Lou coached us a couple of weeks ago to take the high road, right? Make them look like the bad guys. We'll ask the question. We'll ask for access. We'll go around the right channels. You know, and I think that you're not gonna win anything becoming a hothead. You know? But I do have.
Come on, look where we're at. We're at Mike's house, and look at all his trophies.
I do have a theory. I do have a theory.
The longer you stay in the conversation with the person that's trying to kick you off the lake, is the more casts you can make. As you're working, you're working down that piece of cover. Stay in the game, baby. Just keep flipping as we're talking.
I've been on the Delaware River, and a guy's just unloading on you. You know, waving at you, screaming, and you know, you put your fake Apple headphone on.
4:30.
But yeah, well, I don't have any
southwest wind.
I don't have any cigarettes.
Go Eagles.
But
go Eagles.
I have a theory though about Alloway, Brian.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I think I figured it out.
Ah.
You have a boat that's less than 18 feet with electric.
Yes.
Are you behind all the changes at Alloway?
No.
Keeping it all to yourself.
Yes.
Maybe now. Yeah, it's out of the bag. No, but you know, I'm looking forward to going to the meeting on February 8th. I'm looking forward to learning more about what we can do and how we can carry our voice forward.
Us too.
And so combining with these other organizations, I think is critical.
Critical.
Critical. How we do that and how we follow through. I think it needs to be elevated. I'd like to talk to some of the officers at NJ Bass, get them involved. See what their opinion is, and how far they want to go with it, and their commitment to having somebody maybe participate in the federation meetings as well.
Well, I hope you'll come back and give us an update after the meeting.
And when we get that dealt with, we're coming here to Palatine and getting the gates open to the
Palatine. Did you say that name?
I got to give a big shout out to our boys Lee Livesey and Caleb Summerall. Notice it's still Michelob, it's not Busch Light. Good try.
I love it. And there's still like I was just watching a video. I sent it to you. There's so many issues going on.
I love those videos.
Yeah. Well, down at the Everglades down in Florida, the discharges coming out of Lake Okeechobee, the Everglades are being impacted in a negative way because of the releases, the east-west releases that are coming out of that lake for the sugarcane industry. And as a result, there's impact to the Everglades down there. There's so many issues.
That's water policy, right? So that's politics and policy about how people are using water, right? And that's as we get more populated, as constraints get more and more on that resource, that's going to become. There was a guy on the show, and I never thought about this, but he called in. He was from Pennsylvania when we heard last time. I was chatting with him on the chat board, and his concern was he used to fish at a reservoir that was owned by the local municipality for water distribution, right? And I guess there was a friendly relationship in the town. They would let anglers go and fish there. Now some of these big reservoirs and these water companies are being bought up by actually foreign companies.
No, don't start.
Right, so they're being bought up.
To a dark place.
They're being bought up by these big water conglomerates that are managing the wastewater and the water side of the counties, and so they're owning the reservoir now. Right? I don't want to put in any names of these water companies, but they're giant water company names. They're on both sides of the river. And so they're gobbling them up and they're managing because the towns don't want to manage these resources anymore. So the local angler that would go down and say, hey man, can I fish in the reservoir? Oh, here's a pass. You write your ticket, clean up after your trash, wear your life jacket. You're good to go. That's all gone away.
Yeah.
Because the companies are like, oh, it's too much liability. They don't want to deal with insurance issues.
Yep.
So that's another loss for people who are feeling. That's going to be a tough one to address.
Yep.
There's
one going on like that right now in Virginia. Can't forget it's Virginia or Maryland. Lake Manassas, which was it had big ones in it. Guys would catch 10s there routinely, and it's been shut down in the last couple of years. Same deal that you're
Water
talking
company
about.
bought it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I believe that's the reason Team No Fish knows a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I would love to hear about
Andre,
that.
chime in with us, man. Let us know a little bit more about what's going on with that.
That's a whole other issue, Riz. Like, it's not even like local township ordinance and us getting written out. That's just a whole nother, something else that we need to look at, try to tackle.
Yep.
Well, the point is we got to look at it. We got to get together. We got to have a voice, a stronger voice, and I'm glad you're going down this road.
Appreciate it.
And we look forward to hearing more about it and all the other things that we constantly deal with the invasive species and so many
Riz's goldfish,
Riz's goldfish,
snakeheads,
stocking program. There's a lot going on. We're going to be talking about it and keeping you guys posted. And check out the Eco Bass Angler if you guys want to get involved with what's going on here.
I'll post his phone number here in a second.
Instagram.
Go to my Instagram and message me if you have an access issue on a lake or a river, something's tugging at you. Send me a note. I'll get it to these guys. We'll highlight it and bring it forward. Absolutely, love to.
Awesome. And we're gonna switch gears a little bit here. And man, we just came off a hot and heavy week of seminars. BTC.
That's right.
Right. I thought you were pointing to me because we were going to do a commercial break or something.
No. I was thinking maybe see if Alex has got anything on the message board before we dive deep into what you're about to introduce.
Right, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, Alex.
Let's just hear from Alex. What's the Indiana report right now? We need to have that weekly from what's going on in Indiana.
The ice. The ice has gained an inch.
Very cold. I went ice fishing for the first time last weekend. Had about 6 inches of ice.
Okay.
It was really clear. We got our first big snow the weekend too, and I forgot how slippery ice was, and I fell down and about busted my head open. But we survived that. The fishing wasn't very good, but it was like the third time I've been ice fishing, so I guess I got to run into the learning curve at some point. Still a good time. Indiana, there's some lakes with access issues, stuff like that. A lot of it's just you can get there. You just got to pay to do it, which people don't always like, but sometimes that seems to be the name of the game around here, but certainly doesn't sound as bad as you guys have it. But yeah, lots of good stuff. Like you said, coming on the message board, we got some great names on here. We got Hank Soiled Underwear checking in with us. We got Pete's Missing Glide Bait. I mean, there's all kinds of good comments back and forth on the message board. So we appreciate you guys tuning in with us, and we're going to have a good chance to interact here with you guys in the next segment. We're going to ask some trivia questions and have a lot of fun with you. So looking forward to it.
That's awesome. What is where did we get that wonderful story? That was on last week's show.
Hank.
Yeah. I just couldn't remember. I listened to so much fishing. Couldn't remember if it was over the weekend or on last week's.
It's from Jacqueline Cherry.
Yes. Jacqueline Cherry. She needs to write a book on all these stories.
By the way,
man.
What a great name.
Jacqueline Cherry.
That's a great name.
Good work, Hank.
Another trip.
Yeah, we loved her as a guest. She was amazing.
Phenomenal.
As was Hank dishing all the goods.
You think she needs a job? We could hire her for Bash U.
I would love the Jacqueline Story Corner.
Yeah.
More soiled underwear stories.
Oh God.
Maybe.
I bet you there's more than one.
Right. Oh my God. Might get canceled.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, we had a great seminar week. Ike was with us. So Matt Airy, Brian Thrift, John Murray, you name it. Drew Cook, who was new to Bass University as a speaker and gets a 4-star rating. Well done, Drew. just got to give him and John Cruz, who has been with us, just like Ish Monroe, been with us teaching from day one. John's seminar was really awesome. He broke down all the different styles of jig, from football head to finesse to
Arky.
flipping, the styles of heads. And because it's confusing, right, guys? There's so many different styles out there. If you're new to jig fishing, trying to find confidence in fishing jigs, he breaks down exactly which habitat, which situation each style of jig is built for. Really great seminar. As you know, as we expect from John, he's amazing.
We had a few first-time guys on this round of seminars.
Yeah,
Drew Cook was first-timer.
Right.
Wes Logan, he was a first-timer. He came out like a ball of fire.
He sure did.
That river fishing seminar was pretty damn good, man. For a Southerner, that little dude talks fast. And in the first 15 minutes, I'm texting you guys. I'm like, man, I hope he doesn't run out of gas here. But he just kept going and going and going and going. That's why Mercer calls him the little ball of hate.
That's right.
The ball of hate.
A lot of energy there.
Lower, slower, don't apply, huh?
No, I was surprised. You know what else surprised me that way? Because most all the guys are from the South, and they have that draw, a little slows them down a little bit. Matt Airy.
Oh, dude, Matt Airy
was on fire.
He could come up here and slick talk with anybody. He'll say something about you won't even know he said it. Like, what?
He was great. But Drew Cook's seminar, the sight fishing thing has haunted me for years in my career. Bed fishing, I get frustrated with it in tournaments. I have difficult time rationalizing whether I should be doing that or just going fishing. And my gosh, he's light years ahead of most sight fishermen I've ever talked to.
Really? Just the amount of confidence that he spoke with on the things he can do to make these fish bite in so many different scenarios. It was mind blowing.
It was.
And there was some of the stuff he said that's just so basic and elementary of why didn't I ever just think of that? You know what I mean? Like when he looks at a bed, don't try to break down the whole bed. Break it up into lanes and break each lane down with your bait and work your way systematically across the bed to cover the entire bed. Yeah. Don't try to hit the right corner, left corner, top left with to try to find the sweet spot. Break it down, man. Just go through it and let the fish tell you where you need to be putting your bait. And man, and the way he broke it down with the day 1 fish, day 2 fish, day 3 fish, he's not going to the
guys.
Yeah, he's not going to the day. He's saving the fish that he knows nobody else is going to realize that fish is on a bed. He's not even going to look at them day 1 and day 2.
Wow.
Just saving them for day 3. Red stop signs mean one class of fish. Green money signs mean a whole different class of fish. Yellow
red cross.
Yeah, red cross means a different kind of fish, and it broken down by day, completely sick.
You could see why.
And the lineup. I'm giving too much away here. I'm giving too much away. You guys got to if you're watching on Facebook right now, I'm giving you the juice. Sign up.
Go get signed up
on the cast.
Go get signed up. We're going to be releasing that one real soon. We're going to let him try to win these 2 tournaments on St. John's and the Harris chain, but we'll be releasing it real soon because it's that time of year where the fish are going to be able to be caught in that manner. But just his understanding of how the fish reacts on the bed, what the females are doing in relation to the males. I heard dialogue that I've never heard before by veteran, spawning anglers, and how to target females over the males and the relationship that they have versus catching one versus the other strategies. You have that strategy, you catch the male off the bed and the female will take the bed. You can catch her. Well, sometimes. Right, he teaches us different strategies to get around that. Really good stuff. So much, and it's not just Drew. We also talked about swim jigs, which he's an aficionado with that as well. But so many of the guys, teaching us amazing content all weekend.
Oh, yeah.
But don't worry, if you missed it, it's all getting cut, edited, spliced, and it's going to be delivered. One of the absolute highlights for me, man, I almost don't want to give this out because it's so good, was the Matt Herron seminar, his second seminar with Bass University, talking about Humminbird and his use of 360 and forward-facing sonar was absolutely revolutionary to me. I hadn't heard anybody use it in this fashion because he's a shallow water guy like me, and what he loves to fish docks in particular. He just happened to be talking about docks in this situation, but what he does is he everything's networked as most of our systems are, but he turns his forward face, his Mega Live, shooting 90 degrees, right? The boat's going this way. The forward facing on his trolling motor's going this way. This is one of the keys. He turns the motor off, the Minn Kota off. It locks the motor in place, so even the hydrostatic pressure of the water won't allow that motor head to turn, and it'll keep that Mega Live shooting at the bank as he's idling down, and he keeps his 360 running, and he looks at those screens on his console. So once he figures he's going to be fishing the bank or fishing a dock, he can idle past these areas in preparation for his tournament. And he can identify which docks have brush on them, which docks have bait on them, which docks have fish on them.
Yeah.
And you can efficiently go down stretches like that. Mm-hmm. And here I'm gonna give this one up too because it's insane. To me, it was just so well thought. You can reduce the 360 down to a pie slice of 90 degrees, and so it doesn't have to rotate all the way around. So he shoots that 90 degree pie at the bank.
Pie.
And so it just as you're idling, it constantly regenerates real quick. And you going at idle, going slow,
nonstop pie.
He can get that image with the Mega Live eating pie. Dude,
if I saw a guy eating pie during practice, just idling around eating a slice of pie, I'm just gonna give him my money.
He's idling down the bank
this
at
one,
practice,
dog.
setting it up, which is actually what's concentrating.
Setting is right. Doesn't want to show the fish his bait. Doesn't want to, doesn't want to fish the areas.
Yeah, right.
Right. Doesn't want to stick anything.
Seeing where the juice is.
Just wants to say, hey, look, I'm going to be dock fishing in this tournament, or I'm going to be bank fishing in this tournament, and he can efficiently go through areas and eliminate them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or identifies that, ooh, look at the juice
Yeah.
on this stretch.
Yeah.
Without catching them.
Without having to fish, without having to catch them, and covering 10 times as much water as you ever could do if you were trolling motoring.
Because I remember you asked him, how many fish did you catch?
Right. What did he say?
Zero.
Wow. How many fish do you, with his use of the electronics, he does not feel the need to get a bite and stick a fish at practice, catching zero.
That's
pretty amazing.
I think that's key considering, well, I mean, the size of the fields have always been there, but still, I think that's pretty key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, fishing pressure it's getting more and more. We're fishing these tournaments. I'm fishing them 200 boats.
Right.
I mean, the fishing pressure is freaking out of this world. There's guys fishing like the guys down in Texas. They're fishing events that have 2,000 entries in them. So fishing pressure is a big deal. And even in those tournaments, there's only 80 guys in an elite or 90 guys. It's still a lot of fishing pressure, and I just love that system. I love that seminar. Thank you, Matt, for that. I gave just a little piece of it. You guys got to go check out the rest of it and the rest of all these guys' seminars. But we've got some questions for you guys, BTC. Are you ready to roll with some?
Do you want to look at this?
Sure.
I wrote your words down, Pete, in shorthand.
How short did you write?
Shorthand.
Good Lord. You know what's funny as I'm looking at this? My son, who is 12 years old, congratulations, Jake, by the way. Busted out a 7-2 win on the mat tonight.
Nice.
I loved it. Got
Very
two
nice.
takedowns, got 3 back points, and took it to Blackwood Middle School on a great win. I
Heck
couldn't
yeah.
be there. Couldn't be there. We the parents weren't allowed to. Nobody was allowed to watch. So
somebody video it. Hope.
Well, I
They
hope
didn't
so.
stream it?
No, we're not at the middle school. We don't have that option.
Right.
I imagine as they get more advanced, we'll be able to see. I didn't get to see it, but man, he was so excited. Called us up, thrilled. Dad, I did this. That, I can't wait to get home and get the rest of the scoop. But congratulations,
good job,
to
Jake.
Harrington Middle School. Congratulations,
yeah.
Jake, on a great win.
It's awesome.
And but anyway, I'm looking at this writing, and I'm like, Jake looks. We get some handwritten like Christmas cards that are in cursive, and he looks at this and he's like, Dad, I don't know what the heck that means, because they don't know cursive.
They don't do that in school anymore.
They don't do it anymore.
You staged me, Pete.
Because I can't tell if this is cursive or just bad printing.
Looks like a kind of a hybrid.
Probably
of both.
a hybrid.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
2 words cursive, or one letter regular.
Yeah, it's probably that.
Yeah.
Some uppercase, some lowercase.
It looks like somebody has to write up estimates really fast. That's what it looks like.
Well, we're going to ask you some questions. Our guys were so quick on the on our seminars this weekend. We want to see how you guys. I know you guys are so quick.
Like a really poorly paid doctor.
Right.
All right,
Well,
Pete, go ahead.
I'm going to start with Matt Airy.
All right, give it a shot.
And we're going to see how fast you guys are. But he talked about an underspin. And he's designed his own underspin. It's something PJ. I can't remember the name of it, but easy to find, easy to Google. But the key is he rated the seasons, right? Spring, summer, fall, and winter as what their importance. What is the most important season to throw an underspin, according to Matt Airy? What do you
just got hit by an underspin.
I just got hit by something. What do you think?
We're off the rails. We're throwing treble hooks around the room.
Is that what that was?
It was a crankbait.
All right. What?
It was a fat-free shad.
That's good.
It was Bagley.
Were you trying to get my attention?
No, I was looking for a pen, and that was the first thing I grabbed. So.
All right, the answers are flying. Oh, we got a winner. Brett B. Congratulations. We want to give him something since it was the first one.
Sure.
First question. All right, Brett B. Congratulations.
Summer.
Man, summer.
What?
Was the correct answer.
That
most
blew my hair back.
Season.
I couldn't believe that was
winter.
Right, winter time. This time of year when the shad are all wadded up. Yeah. That's when the classics were won. I think what was it? Casey Ashley won on that technique and
Hartwell.
Yeah, on Hartwell, right? And that's what I'm thinking, right? You never hear or see anything about that until then. But Matt rigs that thing 12 months a year, and he rates summer as the most important season to throw it. So
is that his go-to bait?
It's one he has rigged on the deck at all times, which was surprising. Yeah, that was really surprising to me. So thanks, Matt, for sharing that with so much good stuff that he ripped through. Here's another great one. Brandon Cobb, who's been with us for a few times now, and always delivers a great seminar. One of which his on-water timber seminar for you guys that are in that season down there at Lake Russell. I know Mike's going to be competing in a Hobie Classic, I guess. Kayak tournament down there, same time as the Bassmaster Classic on Lake Russell. But full of timber there, full of timber on so many lakes from the White River chain, the Red River to wherever. But what an amazing seminar on how to fish in timber. Now one of the things that we talked about in one of his seminars was he uses a stick bait a lot, uses it wacky style a lot. What type of what type of O-ring does Brandon Cobb use on his stick bait? Who can guess? See, we needed everybody. Did you hear that question asked earlier?
I did.
So you know the answer. So you can't.
I'm just thinking, do we know what stick bait he uses, or is that off the question?
Yeah. Well, it's probably a Zoom bait.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
To me, that might play in a little bit.
Yeah.
I got to give this one to KP.
It's already given away.
KP, because Howie Range, I think, actually came in. He tried to be first, but I think he tried to say none, but it says nonum. So I couldn't tell what that said
Swedish,
right away.
Yeah.
And KP said no O-ring. He made it real simple. So KP,
No ring.
good job, man.
And
you want to You want a congratulations?
He uses he uses a Zoom fluke stick. Is his stick bait, and one of the cool why no ring, and the purpose is when you get a bite to get that bait up and out of the way.
Okay.
So to increase your strike to catch ratio.
Okay.
So that was a big deal. But the other thing that he mentioned too was that the durability of the fluke stick.
That's what I was going to say, right?
Is
that why the O-ring was kind of brought out?
Yeah, it was a little bit. It's a little bit tougher because what happens is how it is. You throw it off. That's why they use the O-ring, right? And so the fluke stick hangs on, according to Brandon, a little bit longer, and so that was a cool deal.
Oh, it's the fluke stick that he throws.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have guessed something else, but now that you're saying it, it's definitely the fluke stick. I thought it was going to be Slinky. The Slinky worm is the one they came out with. I don't know.
Zoom did?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago. It's almost exactly like the Senko, except I think it has a little bit less salt content. And I've actually seen times where when you're Texas rigging it on a light Texas rig, I've actually seen it outperform the Senko just because of how it lays in the water. So,
all right,
just a little fun fact for you: salt content in baits makes them act
everything
different
changes the way that they fall. Right, if you're fishing weightless, it's key.
Yeah,
because some will vibrate more, some will fall faster, some will fall slower, and for your situation, you got to figure out which is which.
Which black Senko is the right one for the day?
Yamamoto sold their business, right?
That's right. I heard something.
About
that.
Are we worried about the ingredients?
I hope not.
I hope they change it, and all you guys got to learn how to actually fish.
Blasphemy!
All right.
So Yamamoto makes a lot more than a Senko. All right.
I hope they change it. And everybody's
I've seen a guy in the back of my boat. I'm not going to say who. Throw the swimming version of that bait.
Oh, swim Senko?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
Man, that thing is crazy killer.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, bad to the bone.
Yep.
Faux show.
Yeah.
I fished against Gary Yamamoto down at Santee Cooper where he used that bait. That's the first time I heard about it. Swimming it through the silver dollar pads down there.
Exactly
when that bait comes out, I cringe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. New rules. No Senkos or Yamamoto baits.
No, I just wonder. I wonder if they said the formula is not going to change.
Pretty damn good too.
Right? They say the formula is not going to change, but
Yeah,
I assume they got bought by a bigger. I don't know what the deal was. I saw a post or something.
That's what they say about everything, though. It's
Yeah.
not going to change.
Right.
But
Yeah.
And then they start eliminating
like
colors.
The OG.
Yeah, somebody fine tunes. Somebody really looks at the ingredients under a microscope and they say, "Oh, this formula is save 3 pennies for it," and it's basically the same.
Or Riz, let's not make these 4 colors because they don't sell as much. You know? They're the ones that we're in love with. I'm sure.
Yeah, pink.
That was always the beauty of Yamamoto is they did not scrimp on the color combos, man.
No.
Yeah, they made black.
They made every single
So
thing.
many.
All they needed to make was black. But
Yeah.
they decided to make everything. You know.
Yes, sir.
It was fun, because I fished with Derek Yamamoto, and he hooked me up with a bunch of Senkos, and he's like, what do you want? He had an oversupply, and he thought he was anticipating, that I was. Do you have any with the tiny silver flakes with just a little bit of copper and blue? Can we custom make something for you? And I'm like, nah, just black. I just need black.
Yeah.
He's like, what? All right.
Well, you look at their color charts, and you can sit there like for a month of Sundays looking at it. I don't know, how many flakes do I need?
Well, from where they're from, like out in Arizona, out in that Clearwater, Mead, and all those gin clear places, they obsessed over the color combinations, and obviously it was a great thing. I know guys are going to be out there; they're going to be opening their packs and be like, "Oh, this isn't like the old."
Yeah.
What did they do? They did something to it.
Next question, we lost her. Yeah.
Next question. We're going back to Brandon Cobb.
Pete gets lost sometimes. He gets Senkos. Just see him go, man. He's just like,
I'll take credit for that. I derailed him a little bit.
Hey,
he's just walking down the road.
It depends on who wants to get in the check line and who doesn't.
Yeah. Yes.
Cash in the checks.
Go
ahead, Ben.
Brandon Cobb talks about walking baits, pencil poppers. On a cloudy day, what's the color of choice for Brandon Cobb? What do you think? Yes, as they're mouthing the answer to me, that is the correct answer, Riz. But I don't know if you guys got the correct answer. This is a great color.
Bernie says the correct color is heritage coffee. But that's not the answer we're looking for. Bryce,
just like my Senka.
Bryce with the correct answer of bone.
Bone.
Good job, Bryce.
It's
Bone colored,
Yep.
man. You can't go wrong with that bone colored topwater.
And shout out to Howie. I don't know about the other guys, but I know Howie was with us a lot over these seminars.
Basically
over the
holds a
weekend.
stock in the company for all the stuff he won over the weekend.
Right. A lot of wins. Bone color is the deal.
Howie.
I want to. He throwing those big giant baits. Brandon talks about the rod fatigue, and what's the name of the rod that he uses for those big topwater baits?
This one's going to be a Gills Gear gift card because this one's unique.
This is unique because
So,
you think about
what's the name of the rod?
Okay, but you think about what the fatigue that comes in throwing these things, because you need a rod that can effectively set the hook, a rod that you can land the fish with. But so you want the bigger rod, but when you start walking the dog all day long,
wear you out.
I mean, your arm, your shoulder, everything gets wore out, and nobody's got that yet.
No, somebody came in with the right manufacturer, but we need the name of the rod.
Oh, well, now you're going to get
Team No Fish said fishing rod, and that's not what we're looking for. But you're also not wrong.
Yeah. Now the Google masters are going to come out of the woodwork.
Sinclair Fishing with a funny answer that I can't say on the air. Hunter May's coming in with some fire too. How about that? I like it. But
Brandon was Brandon, as usual, was a really, really good talent, really good speaker for us, and a lot of great information. But it's all one of the things that, and while we're waiting, I'll talk about the line, because the big controversy. Do you use mono or do you use braid for your topwaters? And weighing in on which is which, but he fishes a lot of mono. Which I like, because I'm still, a mono guy, and especially goes to mono. What was he was talking about when the spotted bass are popping that bait out of the water? What has a tendency to happen when you're fishing with braid is the hooks will tangle.
Hooks will tangle.
Yeah, and it just
so must influence his rod choice if he's going to mono versus braid, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And but I still love to fish mono. I still get a big hookup percentage on mono. So I like it. That's what I use.
All right, so we got to refine how we're asking this question a little bit. Okay, because the manufacturer actually doesn't call the rod that. It's what Brandon just calls the rod that he uses for this technique. It's his own name.
His pet name.
Oh, we got it. Mike P. Mike P came in as soon as I started to cue it up a little bit. Arc Brandon Cobb walking stick.
There it is.
It's the walking stick.
What do they call it?
It's not called a walking stick. It's one of their lines.
SP
something.
Okay.
Somebody's trying to buy it.
R32.
Yeah,
awesome.
But we got the right answer. Brandon Cobb.
A lot of fun.
Walking stick.
Hey guys, we had a lot of fun at the seminars and asking questions to all you guys, and that's just a taste of what we did in the last couple of weekends. Brian, we're gonna take a commercial before we talk baits, crankbaits.
We got Dan Quinn ready to rock and roll, and yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we're gonna take a commercial break.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. We got Dan Quinn from Rapala. We're going to be talking crankbaits, Balsa crankbaits. It's going to be a blast, Dan. It's always a blast to have on the show. So we will be right back after this.
Aquaview, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. AquaView. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
It is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% bait here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick, every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
We're different. Some would say obsessed. There's no place on earth we'd rather be than right here, right now. Performance-driven gear, so you can fish longer, harder. Gill's Performance Fishing.
Options are endless, but there's only one. One box, one anti-corrosion technology, one family-owned, American-made brand, Flambeau Z-Rust Tackle Solutions. Preserve, perform, repeat.
Moment on the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you.
I don't know. I'd say it is.
It is, if we need it to be.
Welcome.
That's what it needs to be. It is.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Bass University Live.
It's me or it's the block. Probably me, but maybe it's a commercial block.
As always, we got a few technical glitches going on behind the scenes, but we are glad to be back live with you guys.
I'll own it.
That's good. We're back live. That's the most important part.
That's right.
And I'm real excited. We got a friend of the show, friend of mine known for forever. Comes from a great family in the fishing world, and we're tickled to death to have him with us. And it's Dan Quinn from Rapala. They've been part of Bass University for as long as I can remember, and we appreciate them. And we always love having Dan on the show. Dan, how are you, buddy? It's good to have you on the show tonight.
Hey, Pete. Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. This is awesome. Always a good time.
It is awesome to have you on. Where are you calling us from? Some ice shanty in Minnesota, or where are you calling us from?
Could be. Lakes are plenty frozen. It's like below zero probably right now, so it's plenty cold. But I'm inside. I find myself ice fishing a little less every year, and more so going south to go fast fishing. So.
That's the time. Everybody's doing it, man. Are you going to come down for any of the tournaments soon? February's loaded with Florida tournaments.
I don't know if I'm going to get down there for one. I'll definitely be at the Classic and the Red Crest, but I got a little south. I went to Missouri and fished with Cody Huff, but of course I had to run out of there. It was an ice storm coming. I brought the cold front with me. So.
Ooh, no kidding. How was that? Did you guys do the Jigging Rap thing around Standing Timber? What did you guys do?
We did that and then some. Yeah, I got a real crash course in it. Yeah, it was really interesting. Yeah.
That's amazing to me, and you guys probably heard us on the show before. I'm always so fascinated that the Jigging Rap, we call it the ice jig. It's such a popular bait for Rapala. It's like one of your #1 selling baits.
It is. Yeah, we went for a full year where it was actually the #1 selling bait, and it's one of those fascinating lures that took off as an ice fishing lure originally, then as a walleye lure with the one and only Al Linder kind of pioneered open water for walleyes and multi-species. It's got tons of applications for panfish, multi-species, but what's amazing now is that it's taken off as an open water bass fishing lure. For the forward facing Sonar, it's far and away the deal. You know, it's incredible.
It is fascinating, and I'm still waiting for you to come east to give me my lesson.
Well, I think what you may need to do is go to Missouri and fish with Cody Huff. Yeah, and it's actually, what was cool is it's the flat jig. So it's the ounce and 3/16 because those fish are moving and they're, 40, 50, 60 feet down. You've got to lead them and hit them right on the head. And the heavier, the better. So the number 6 flat jig is actually, anytime Cody Huff's fishing in 40 or deeper, is the only lure he's fishing with.
Number 6 flat. I'm writing that down. They're sold.
I honestly would.
They're sold out everywhere. It's amazing that it's so effective. You're fishing deep with it. So where were you guys on, like the White River lakes, or where were you guys fishing?
So it was really fascinating. You'll appreciate this, and I'm sure a lot of the people tuning in will. We started on Table Rock. We were going to do a day on Table Rock and a day on Bull Shoals. So we went out to Table Rock. It had cooled off enough where the shad had gone out to 105 feet. And I guess once the shad get out that deep, they're out kind of getting towards the main lake out of the creek arms. The bass kind of leave them alone. It's just too deep, whatever, but you can't really pinpoint them. They kind of go back towards shore, which was interesting. It didn't work for what we were trying to do. So we kind of pulled the pin early and went to Bull Shoals, and it was the right call. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's water clarity or temperature or whatever, but those shad were in about 75 feet, and they're very, you could see the bass blowing holes through the shad. I mean, it was absolutely incredible.
Wow. Wow. Where can we see all this stuff?
We did some videos with Wired to Fish. There'll be some of that, and then Cody's, he's just a master of it. It was interesting. We did a little bit with Brandon Polnick in Idaho last fall, doing it for rainbow trout, kind of this sharpshooting type technique. But having fished with Patrick Walters, Wheeler, and now Cody's, these guys that are so dialed in to forward-facing Sonar, it was, to me, it's just, I really can appreciate it. You hear some this and that. Oh, it's these kids with the depth finders. It's too easy now. It is so far and away not easy. The speed that guys are doing it at, they're fast. It's very fast. They're making quick little casts. If the fish don't act, they're on to the next one. And they might go grab a sandwich and I'll kind of take over. And before I know it, I'm putzing around with one fish, and they would have thrown it like 20 by now. So it's just fascinating to me that it's just created this whole new way to fish. And I mean, when things are set up for it, you cannot beat these guys at this. When the fish are set up like that.
When they're off the bank, when they're relating to bait out in the mix, out in the middle, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
100 feet deep the shad go, though. That's pretty. That to me is interesting, because the shad almost seem to be like a survival mode. They're swimming deeper than the bass are willing to go. That's a fantastic observation.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, Cody is very, very dialed into that area, those highland reservoirs, and what those fish do and how they act. And because he said a few weeks before, had we been there, it would have been a very different story. So it's day to day, and I don't know if there was maybe the cold front just pushed them and they went a little deeper. But yeah, you'd think if they can survive that deep and the bass leave them alone, they'd be better off to go hang out there more often.
Right. Why go shallow and get eaten when you can just chill, down in 100 feet of water? That's pretty.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really interesting though. But that dang Jigging Rap, every time we talk, that thing comes up. But this was just another example of how amazing that bait is. And for that guy Cody, who he's consistently winning, right? Like wintertime stuff on Bull Shoals, that is the only bait he's fishing with.
Wow.
That's really it's making me speechless, because I'm like, wow, this is such a unique thing that he's way ahead of the curve on, and even guys that know what he's doing, he still seems to be out fishing everybody.
Well, that's what I found interesting, and I can appreciate is it's not like you go out there and you just see all the fish and you just cast them and catch them. Like, it is so far from that. it's a whole nother thing that these guys they're treating it like a job. I got to go out, work my 8 to 10 hour day, and I'm just going to learn this. I'm going to learn how to be efficient, my distances, my casting, and getting my transducer so I can see the splash of my bait and then watch it and how it just goes straight down, and learning what baits do. Because what's interesting too is baits act very differently at different depths. So once you get past, like, say 25, 30 feet of water, your line, it acts like
drags it.
It totally reduces. Even a flutter spoon doesn't move much, but the Jigging Rap is magical at that depth. You can't help that thing just dances, and it's a little puppet down there. So
what? So take me through that. Like you've identified a target. You're going to watch this bait fall. What's the he's in 75. I can't believe you guys are catching him out of 75 feet of water. That's nuts. But what are you doing with the bait? Like, are you ripping it up? Or I guess you're letting the fish tell you the way that they want it.
Yeah, it was interesting. At that depth, it didn't seem to bother them getting on top. So a lot of times you see him out 30, 40, 50, 60 feet, and he's moving so fast that you kind of get up on the fish, but he learns which direction they're swimming, to you, away, left or right, and you have to lead them. Because if you don't hit them on the head and get their attention, they don't see it and they're moving. Which to me, it's like you think they're in this huge aquarium type thing, and anything coming down they would see and go towards, but they certainly didn't.
Wow.
And it may be different day to day, but so you see the fish, and if it's out there a ways, you watch and you kind of get your bait so it's a couple feet, and immediately you see the fish react and they come towards it. And at that point, you engage your reel and you're just kind of hopping it, and it's just going like this. It's kind of gliding, and a lot of times they bite pretty quick. But if you're above them, he kind of jigged it real aggressively, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And if the fish didn't bite, he bait, and the fish wasn't really committed to it, he's just reeling up, going to the next one.
Wow.
And one thing that is critical to this whole recipe, and I learned this from Al and from a lot of time on the water, is not using braid with a Jigging Rap. Which deep water, you think obviously you're going to use braid.
Right.
Allender only uses mono, and Cody Huff only uses fluoro. Which, fishing with Brandon and those trout, off the bat he had braid to a maybe 6, 8 foot fluoro leader. He lost 3, 4 of them right away. He finally called and I said, "You have anything with straight fluoro?" Or probably don't have mono, but sure enough, he had straight fluoro. He never lost another one. And it's because fluoro stretches like mono, right? In having that stretch with the Jigging Rap is a critical element to landing more fish.
No kidding. Wow. Yeah, that's
100%. And I fight it because I like the feel of braid, and I still will fish it. And I'm my own worst enemy there, but it is absolutely the deal. And Cody Huff, straight 12-pound fluoro on a bait caster.
Man, it's funny because I've got Stockel and Riz over there, and you're talking about fishing less than 3 feet of water, and they're like, we don't understand what's going on. We don't understand this conversation.
More than 3.
Yeah. see more than 5 on the graph and start getting nervous.
No, we're supposed to talk about balsa. I'm talking about metal. Honestly though, I love it, and I'm just excited after seeing that last week. It's just so fresh, and it was so intriguing to me. And all you guys love bass fishing, and it was a cool opportunity. So
are you seeing other species out there? Like I was working that bait a little bit this summer up in Maine, and I would get around white perch, and they would just absolutely destroy it.
Oh yeah,
right. And I could see them on the forward facing come up with the lure, and they would go back down with the lure. They'd come up with the lure. It was almost like you were puppeteering him,
Totally.
Yeah, it was crazy to watch the action of the school and then try to get one to react. I tried to switch over to some bigger smallmouth, but and I was catching them too. But the white perch were so reactive.
Wow.
And big white perch too, like 12, 14-inch white perch. They were fun to catch, but
the first fish he caught was like a 3.5-pound white bass, which it was the biggest white bass I've ever seen. I didn't realize Bull Shoals has some giant white bass, but we caught largemouth, big white bass, and then I caught the biggest crappie. We got a 16-inch crappie.
Wow.
Just one solo blob. I just kind of pitched my flat jig at it and I caught it.
Nice.
Everything, yeah, it's amazing because most guys are fishing the bank with wiggle warts and jerk baits or spinner baits and catching some, but Cody's out there, no man's land, just winning tournaments by 25% of the way. I mean, like 5 pound lead, it's unbelievable.
Crazy.
Man, what's a good day like that? Were you catching like 20, 30, 100 fish days doing that stuff?
We didn't catch tons. But he said it was far and away worse than it had been. I guess we're kind of at the bottom of the barrel as far as that bite goes, where the fish are as deep as they're going to get. They're a little more scattered. He said a week ago, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, there were huge schools of bass, 20, 30, 40 bass. And when the more fish in the school, the more aggressive they were, the more competitive the fish were. And they're just more eager to bite. They're easier to catch versus he wouldn't really stop on many singles, but a double or a triple was what we were targeting just because that's what was there. They had scattered out enough.
How fast was he idling?
He would idle until he saw the bait. As soon as he saw the bait in the general vicinity of where he thought they should be, he just stopped, and he's immediately on that trolling motor. Yeah. But the trolling motor's on high, like hold on to your seat. You're going to get thrown out. And just constantly moving and yeah, it's impressive to watch a guy work with that thing when they really know what they're doing because they know exactly what they want, and they they know exactly what to look for, and they don't stop until they see it. And then when they do, it's hit the brakes, throw the bait, a couple jigs, and boom, they're either caught it or they didn't, and they're back to it. So it's fascinating.
Where your enthusiasm and excitement. I just love this conversation. Because it's so foreign. But where are you finding are they on points? Are they just randomly roaming? Are they in cuts, creeks, or where are you looking for fish?
Remember him? Randall Roaming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Randall Roaming?
Well, you just said Randall Roaming.
Did I say that?
You did.
But where like what's the target? Like he's got to know where to idle.
Yeah, what the hell?
I think the general gist of it is you start at the main lake and get in some of these and granted, I'm nobody means no sort of an expert, but just observing what I did is you find the creeks that maybe he has history with, so he kind of probably streamlined the process. But long story short, it seemed you start in the lake and just drive right down the gut of these creek arms.
Yeah.
And you just drive at a little faster than idle. And you look for these big clouds of shad. And if he got to say, he figures that there's no way the fish are shallower than 50. As soon as we got to 50 and there were no bait, immediately just fly out of there into the next one. And just a lot of idling until you find the bait. And as soon as you find the bait, they seem to be in a general area, which is often like a depth. Like they're in 60 to 65 or for us, they were in like 72 to 80.
Man, this is revolutionary.
Yeah.
People haven't fished that way ever, and it's exposing that. It's exciting stuff. BTC,
yes.
I can see it. Round Valley, come on, knock a mixin.
Yep.
What are you doing? Put the glide bait down for crying out loud.
Beach glide bait down.
Yeah. Pick up the ice jig.
Pete's ice jig.
It starts with getting that that kind of technology on the boat, but yeah.
Well,
that's a big part of it.
Yeah, well,
but this is great. Balsa crankbait conversations. Keep going, Dan.
I love it.
Yeah. Does he tie like a 3-foot leader and one of Ott's OG slims on the back of the ice jig?
He's got a balsa bait behind it.
Can he double up?
Right, it's just kind of trailing behind.
Come on, Cody, you got to get advanced.
No, this is awesome. Seriously.
No, that's really fascinating, and the White River does it that way. And I've been waiting for this to happen. We've been having these cold water classics, Dan. Like, when is somebody going to win with, like, the ice jig, the blade bait, I'm so fast. I can't wait for that to win one of these big events.
I agree. And I'm drawing a blank. Maybe it was Hartwell, but I remember Wheeler caught 3 of his 5 fish in one day of the Classic on one of these wintertime classics. There's no questions asked. I think it will, especially with the advancement of forward-facing sonar and guys understanding it. But I was talking to Mike about it this morning. I mean, it's so new, you know, we're just on the very beginnings, the cusp of what can happen with this and what you can do with it. You know, these fish are untouched. It's going to be interesting. I got to believe in Hartwell with those fish as deep as they go. And, you know, when Casey won with the underspin and there's just those deep fish, I mean, I think it'd be a perfect scenario for it, but I don't know firsthand, but it's going to happen. I've got a lot of confidence in that.
Well, we're going to get tested again. Yeah. Hartwell coming up. We're gonna see. You know, can it be done? Can it be done with one of these techniques? It's a little bit late in the season though. March, I don't know. You know, we might have to have a January or February classic maybe. You know?
It is true, and like I was learning from Cody, it seems there's that peak like December, January. As you get into January, I think it tapers, and then eventually the fish abandon that and go to the bank when it warms to some magical temperature. But
let's talk about that, Dan, when eventually it warms and they go to the bank.
The crocuses croak and spring is sprung.
Right, we've caught all the megalodons and the Loch Ness monsters out of 100 feet of water that we want. We've had enough.
Get on the bank and look for Sasquatch.
One of our guys loves to do that, oddly enough. But but that's you know, there's a lot going on in that world, right? When we start going shallow, and the flat sides are you know, something that is really been effective. And man, we've got a couple of really nice ones at Rapala that are kicking butt up in the shallow water.
That is a fact, and we just hit the stores probably about a month ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, was the second round of the OG baits, the Ott's Garage. And it's been fun working with Ott making these baits, because as you guys know, he's a flat side balsa crankbait guru. I mean, he is the epitome of that. East Tennessee, flat side, making stuff in his garage. It's really cool. You know, he's actually hand carving the baits and giving us samples and lip angles and this and that. And to make this last one, OG Tiny, with him was a real treat. And when those fish are getting up out of that deep water and hitting the bank and the water's cold, I can personally attest the thing catches them. It's a dang vacuum cleaner. I mean, it's an impressive little bait.
It's awesome. I mean, that little flat side in the area where he's from in Tennessee are known for that, right? So they're you know, fanatical about building these little crankbaits. And what makes that crankbait so good? You know, for me, I think it's about its finesse capacity. It's got an interesting wobble. It's different from the thumping and the rolling nature of a lot of crankbaits. I think that helps. It's to me, it's more of a finesse crankbait.
It absolutely is. Yeah. So if you're familiar with last year, we introduced OG Slim, which was similar to our DT flat body, but now Tiny is like a smaller version of that. So Tiny is exactly that. It's a finesse crankbait. It's real subtle. It is probably the most similar bait we have to that would be a shad wrap. And it's a very tight wobbling, subtle action in a little snack size. But you can throw this on a light bait casting combo, as I learned with Ott. But it's a 4-foot runner, and I honestly, I've never seen a bait just catch fish like it does. It's almost like throwing a shaky head or something. And I'm not. We have closed seasons up here, so I'm not as versed in the cold water cranking as I'm sure you guys are. Ott is in Tennessee, but witnessing it firsthand, it's impressive that there's a magic to that. Having and working with Ott, he knows, you know, he didn't want the pull point in the bill. He's like, it's got to be in the nose, and it's got to have this kind of angle, and we made it to his specs, which is really cool for Rapala to mass produce a bait that's typically only been built in garages, you know. So
well, what is the season? Like according to Ott, like is it like a pre-spawn? Is it this time of year?
So The general rule of thumb, and more so with this one, the more finesseful tiny versus the previous one, slim, which I won a tournament in Florida. I mean, outside of pre-spawn on slim, which is a flat-sided bait, but it's a bulkier flat side. This one is more of your traditional flat side, which in the wintertime cranking, anytime the water's cool and cold, pre-spawn, and then again in the fall and all through the winter when the fish are shallow, it's going to be one that's it's going to catch them. No questions asked.
Well, I love fishing the flat sides, and I find that, you know, they can be effective even in the, like, when the fish are trying to spawn. A lot of times you can catch them really in and around the spawning beds, you know, effectively, which is surprising. To, you know, you wouldn't think you'd be cranking around that stuff, but around where I live, it's a big deal in the pre-spawn, a little bit during the spawn. Obviously, when they get wide open, it's really difficult to get them off the spawning beds, but and then post-spawn, it can be really effective as well, especially in high pressure situations, you know.
100%. Yeah, it's just so finessey and subtle, and, you know, and it's small, so it's a little snack size. It definitely, when the fish are negative or neutral, it's a great bait, and it's one, you know, you could tie into a kid's rod or whatever and just go fishing, go throw it. It only dives to 4 feet, so it's not going to get hung up as much, and it floats, it gets unsnagged, floats back out of stuff. It's a fun little bait. We're really excited. I'm excited to see what it's going to do on the tournament trail this year.
I think it's going to be a killer. Is it available right now?
It is. Yeah, we're shipping them. It's like everything in the world. It's tough right now for shipping, and everything's a little plugged up, but they're definitely flowing. They're out there. They're at your favorite retailer. So
excellent.
Dan, you're my favorite retailer.
Well, we love all the stuff that Ott's been bringing to market and with Rapala and stuff, and you talked about the shad wrap, and we're all been using them right through the cold water months, and it continues to be a killer for us. But what is the killer for Rapala this year? Did the ice jig win the sales competition this year?
You know, I honestly don't have completely accurate numbers, but typically our number one selling bait is the number 11 floater in silver.
Well, there goes our trivia question for tonight. Great job, everybody. You're all fired. I'm going to frig home.
I'm sorry,
You're
Brian.
thinking up a trivia question. Why did you set that up?
I don't know. I was just curious.
All right.
That's what we always talk to Dan about.
It's a long day. Now I got to come up with another.
Oh, you got a whole notebook of questions over there.
Oh.
CD, you were just out fishing.
This one's to you, Pete.
All right. Well, do that and then think up another question. Yeah. Craig, you were just out with Pat, your son, and you guys. It's funny because I was talking that you were coming on, Dan. Craig is our environmental director here at Bass U, and you're probably meeting him for the first time. Dan Quinn. That's Craig Durant.
Nice to meet you, Dan.
Nice to meet you, Craig.
Yeah.
But your son Pat and you were out and you caught a mess of crappie giants.
Yep.
And how'd you catch them?
Yep.
In the freezing cold winter right now.
Yeah, on the F11, right on the surface.
Really? Oh,
right
that's
on the surface.
cool.
I got video on my Instagram page of it.
Yeah.
The water was mid 40s, and they were blowing up on it, in about 2-3 foot of water, just catching slabs, and we were getting bass with it, but we went out to catch some crappie. We were gonna fry them up and have a dinner.
Where was this at? Well, I mean, South Jersey.
It was South Jersey. Yeah, it was all the way
somewhere, somewhere within vicinity of where we're talking.
Yeah. It was up on the Tidal River. But man, that bait. I have some that just have teeth marks all over them. Like I don't want to lose that bait ever. You know what I mean? They just kill it. And we would work it and then almost like just dead stick it. And you would see the crappie just push on it, and then they would just blow up.
Yeah.
You know, and we were big ones.
It's
That's really cool.
Crazy good. Crazy good. Yeah.
In my opinion, that's one of the most overlooked and underutilized baits today. You know, it's one that everyone caught their first bass on it, this and that. And,
True.
And a lot of walleye guys, they troll them, they do this and that, which it's a great bait for. But day in and day out, like, you can just go fish with that bait, and it is such a cool, unique way to fish that I honestly, I fished it a couple years ago in a little river, and it's hard to beat. You know, you could just reel it down, it floats back up, and catch walleye and smallmouth and pike, and man, it's just a fun day of fishing like a small river. It's hard to beat.
Yeah, it seems like it's just so natural. Like they can't, they're not shy of it at all. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? They just gravitate to it, and especially when there's bait piled up in the winter, you know, and the bait's dying off, and you know, it was just magical. But hats off to you guys, because
I think it really has a natural, subtle action that looks real. You know, it acts like a dying bait fish, which that's why Lori Rapala made it. You know, in 1936.
Yeah.
I got a story about
cool.
the 9S, the 9. You guys are talking about the 11.
Yeah.
We threw the 9 a lot, and this was like one of the baits we threw way back. You know, one of the very first bass baits, and the only time Mike ever took me to the Poconos, to his grandparents' place up in the Poconos, and I caught my PB trout, it was like a 5-something lake brown trout on his lake, and we were just like, we were in the crawdad, the two of us, and you know, he wanted to like run from one spot to another. Like, dude, let's troll. Let me throw this thing out there, and we're trolling over like, I don't know, 80 feet or something like that with a 9S, and I caught that. There's people out there with downriggers, and I caught that giant trout, and I'm pretty sure he had his. They took me home the next day, and I never got invited.
You never got invited back.
Yeah.
Probably the way you behaved on the ride up.
It's just, you know, he's a competitor. You know, always has been.
But you know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was in Seneca Falls in West Virginia on a rainbow trout fishing trip with one of my brothers, and they were throwing all kinds of crazy. I broke that bait out, that F9, and I caught in this tiny creek. I limited out on rainbows.
How about it?
Everybody was throwing spinners and flies.
Rainbows love that jerk
Rainbows
bait.
love that. They love that bait.
Yeah, they go crazy.
I thought you were lying to me for so long. He's been telling me that he's been using the floating Rapala for like it's freezing out. Yeah. It's like it's 30-degree water temperatures.
Yep.
It's 40.
And he's in this situation it was 40, but it's not been that way before.
Up against the ice. Up against the ice. Come up into the surface and eat it.
Popping them on the surface, twitching them like you would do down in Florida.
Yep.
You know, when it's hot. You know, when it's hot out, catching them.
Yep.
With that bait.
Yep.
Makes about as much sense as everything else right now.
Yeah.
It's the times we live in, folks.
Yeah. Cody Huff catching them out of 75 feet of water.
When you grew up with that bait and a Johnson spoon and a Mep spinner, that's what you grew up with, right?
There you go, kid. Make this work.
Yeah.
You know
you know what? I still got them. I got a whole pegboard full of them.
But you also have a whole pegboard and boxes full of all kinds of, you know, other stuff. How do you go back to that?
I just have so much confidence.
That's awesome, dude, because it's so hard. You got so much stuff.
I know,
anymore.
right? Right. You just have so much confidence in it. I'm not a great, you know, jerkbait fisherman. I'm okay, but that bait.
How about it?
Yeah, that bait.
Well,
all right, back to you, Dan. I'm going to work on a trivia question now. Thanks,
Pete. Dan didn't have the actual answer anyway. He hasn't done the sales. You didn't prep him for this interview, man.
We got it. I got the text history to prove it.
All right, maybe you did.
Number 2 bait.
There you go. What's number 2 and number 3? Keep it simple.
I have no idea, Dan.
Text PTC while we're talking.
Yeah, I do.
I don't want to make Brian mad. Am I not supposed to say, or should I say?
No,
don't say it.
Don't say it. Text it to him. We're going to use it.
Yeah.
That's great, Dan. It's as simple as that, man. It's as simple as going out there and throwing an ice jig around the blobs on your forward-facing sonar.
Come on, 1,000 feet of water,
people.
That's right. Yeah.
You just got to lead them. That's all, right?
That's right.
How long did it take to go from idea to market, or idea to getting it on shelves for the OG Tiny?
Rich, you win a Gills Gear 25.
OG Tiny, honestly, OG Slim and Tiny were both probably two of the quickest baits that we've ever operated with. I mean, with OG Slim, Ott had them. He'd been making them. Mike used them in the Classic.
I remember
gave some
that.
to Brandon
Yep.
and Ott himself. So I said, what's the deal? I just read about this new Rapala bait, Ott. We don't even know about it at Rapala. Like, well, I'm taking this and doing this and this and that. Here, you want some? I'm like, yeah, I should probably take a couple back. So we did it. We're like, all right, what else? How can we make it better? He's like, just make it exactly like this. So basically, that's what we did. We added some cool new colors, and that was OG Slim. And then Tiny, he actually took a bandsaw and carved the exact shape he wanted of the baits, just like he'd been making. The right thickness, the bill angle, the right size bill. You get hit 4 feet. That was it. I mean, normally it's back and forth with Finland and this and that, but Ott is so dialed in and so good with product development. I mean, he's a master with that stuff. So it's really fun working with him.
Dude, he literally gave Mike baits during the Classic that were
modified,
could possibly really play.
Yeah,
and they did, but it wasn't like the winning.
The story that we had with him on Ike Live for that one was great. Just Mike told it in such a way where he calls Ott, tells him what's going on, he needs baits, and Ott just says, all right, come on by the house. Gives him some more crankbaits that he could possibly use to win the Classic. You know what I mean? Like, if I calls Mike and says, Mike, do we have any of these crankbaits that you're throwing that I might be able to use to beat you?
Yeah, Mike's phone's out of service.
Yeah.
I'm out of minutes, dog.
Yeah, we'll ship that right out. Yeah. We'll ship it right out.
Boost Mobile just cut me off. My Nextel's out.
Oh, that's throwing Ike right under the bus.
No. How dare us?
It's all good fun. We love both of them.
Yep. Hey, what about IMs? Do we have people watching, Riz, that want to ask questions, Dan?
We do. Believe it or not, there's a few people watching, and Jay Water is the first one I'm going to go with, and it's such a it's so right on the topic because both baits are so similar. They're one's the full size version, one's the smaller version. And Jay Water wants to know, when do I put down the OG and pick up the OG Tiny? What's the scenario that you need to be ready for to make that change?
I mean, from my perspective, I would say as soon as the fish are in that 4-foot zone, I mean, all winter and early, the Tiny is going to be the one to have on. The more subtle, it's more of a shad wrap, like a really cold water deal. And like Pete said, I don't think you really ever have to take it off. You can catch fish throughout the year on it for sure. But I think as the water warms and the fish get more aggressive and are looking for a bigger meal, Slim would be the one to try. And I mean, I've thrown it all throughout the summer, thrown it around wood and rocks, and it's worked at that. But it's bigger. It's a little bit more aggressive. I'd say it's an aggressive flat side is the Slim. And Tiny is the subtle flat side, which it's hard to say at like a specific water temperature, but I don't know, maybe one is the Tiny is for pre-spawn and maybe right up to the spawn, and then after spawn, it may still work. But as they're truly like post-spawn, maybe Slim's when I'm going to tie that one on. I would say as a general rule of thumb, but of course they're fish and they swim around and do their own deal. They don't always read the book, but I don't know. It's kind of a general idea. I don't know, whatever.
No, that's a great answer, Dan. The only thing I would add to it is the crazy fishing pressure that we face is the time to bring out that Tiny. And when we're dealing with the big tournaments and just people burning down the banks, it's a tremendous tool for that situation. So I'd add it to that. Who asked that question?
That was Jay Water. Jay Water. Yeah, good question, man. And next one I'm going to go with, and we got plenty of questions, by the way. I'm going to read one more, and then I'll send it over to our boy Alex, our intern. Next question is from Caden Argyle, and he wants to know, does depth in a crankbait more depend on what the line diameter is or what the type of line is it, like braid, mono, or fluoro?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. And so the diameter can help it get deeper. It all depends. So most guys are cranking with fluoro, and the advantages of fluoro is the feel, the density of the materials that fluorocarbon's made of transmit the feel really well. and it sinks. So it's not sinking like a rock, but as you make a long cast, it does aid you in getting deeper. But in comparison, Seth Feider fished a DT20 for an entire season on the elites with 6-pound mono. We have the Suffix Advanced mono that came out as it was a prototype. He lifted a tree off of Grand Lake with 6-pound. He couldn't break it. He never broke it for an entire season on the elites. 6-pound. So he felt that diameter was so tiny that it actually performed better than fluorocarbon. But braid can act similarly in it being so thin, and you can fish with such a thin braid to get deep, but the downside is it doesn't have stretch, and you can compensate with a looser drag and a more limber rod to absorb the fish, but braid is a little tricky with trebles. It seems overall a lot of times you'll lose fish, so you're better off having a softer line, a fluoro or a mono. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It can, it's a personal preference, I think. If you really want to.
Tell you what,
strike to catch.
Yeah, don't. But mono gets the bad end of the stick a lot. In talks of line that's good for techniques. Man, you live somewhere that's you're fishing shallow, and you got to worry about picking stuff up off the bottom, the snot, the slime,
durability.
Don't sleep on mono, man, because you can fish some baits on mono that you'd be fighting against it the whole day if you're throwing fluorocarbon, pulling the
life.
Snot. Yeah, all my life I've been doing this. But no, seriously, there's a time and a place for both mono and fluoro. Don't sleep on it. You can make your bait act so differently if you go from 6-pound fluoro to 16-pound mono. You're in a whole different section of the water just by adjusting that. So.
Let me ask, did you talk to Ott about the lip angle? I know he played around with it, but did he talk to you about his motivation between making that angle the way that he wanted it? Did he a wider wobble or less of a wobble, or did you have that kind of conversation with him?
Briefly, he's got such a deep knowledge in it, and he did a lot of that work on his own in his pool and at his house fishing around. Yeah. And honestly, he has so much history with them. There wasn't much play. He kind of had a pretty good direction on it right from the start. Not a lot of guys could just go out to the garage and make a crankbait. It's like it's ready to go. He just kind of knows. But he said, you don't want it too steep or too, so this and that. It's just kind of a happy medium. And it's what's really cool about it too is Ott is pretty simple. He's kind of a minimalist with things. He's like, he doesn't get too carried away with the details on this or that. It's just like, this is just keep it between the lines, and it kind of wanted to do this. And this is a pretty simple approach to it, which it's amazing. And he's like that in fishing, he doesn't overthink it. He's very basic and simple, and arguably one of the best fishermen on planet Earth. So I guess to go back to your question, I don't know if it was like this or just like micro adjustments. It's ultimately just kind of a pretty straightforward from what his experience has been with that style bait. That's just what you do. And
that looked good, Dan. Go ahead. Do it.
Dan, my guy can out-simple your guy. That's all I'm trying to say.
Keeping it simplistic. They make fun of me, Dan, because that's what I do. I keep it simple,
Listen, you guys have the buddy with the brown paper bag or something?
Yeah, solely. Yeah. Fishes out of a brown paper bag.
Solely, right?
Yeah. Fish 2 classics out of a brown paper bag.
Yeah. Well, George Cochran won 2 classics out of a Walmart bag. So there's something to be said.
That was a sponsor of his, wasn't it?
Walmart. Well, it became a sponsor of his.
There you go.
Hey, what's up?
That's where Bob. That's where Bob missed out. He went brown paper bag.
He should have had a logo on that bag.
Yep, needed it.
That's why he's a plumber.
All right, next question we're going to go with is we're actually going to let Alex bring it in. Alex, cue him up. Our fearless intern from the Beach Towel Studios.
That's right. We are live at Beach Towel Studios tonight. Excited to bring Dan a couple more questions. We appreciate everyone on the board and YouTube getting all their questions in. And Dan, I wanted to ask you this question that came in from Pete's Missing Glide Bait. And what he wants to know is, when would you pick up a regular build plastic crankbait like a BX Brat over a super thin bill or the circuit board style like the OG Slim?
So my take on that, from what I've gathered from the pros and fishing, I'd say overall the circuit board flat-sided baits is a general rule for the cooler water, and they work around cover, but we've got big hooks on that bait. So if you're really going to be fishing around a lot of cover in that warmer water, summertime stuff, that's when the square bills are really good. The BX in particular is the Balsa Extreme. It has a copolymer shell around a Balsa core, so you get some of the liveliness and action of a Balsa bait with the real good durability of a plastic bait. And that square bill time is when you're getting up in there. You're hitting it off dock poles and rocks and trees, and you're really fishing aggressively, just kind of cranking it in, covering water, going down the bank, versus the flat sides are a little more finessey. I guess the cooler water, when the fish aren't quite as aggressive, that would be the general rule of thumb.
Great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, Pete. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's great. Great answer, Alex. You got another question for us?
Yeah, this was another good one, Dan, that came in from Mike P. And he wants to know, how does Rapala maintain consistency and quality in all their balsa baits? Because, we all know there's no two pieces of wood that are the exact same. So what's Rapala's strategy for trying to stay as consistent as possible while mass producing balsa baits?
That's a really good question. And I was really fortunate to get to go over to Finland and see it and observe it personally, firsthand. And I will say it was nothing short of remarkable. It's kind of like the Keebler elf tree. Like it's a really magical, special place. Just growing up as a kid, fishing with Rapalas, and I think most any fisherman would get a kick out of it and appreciate it. But Rapala has its own balsa forest that they're constantly cutting and replanting and regenerating. That's supplemental to just buying balsa outright. But we use on average like 10% of the wood, and then the other 90% of it is sold off to other things. Like probably the biggest consumption of balsa is the windmill industry.
Yeah.
Those giant wings on the windmills have a balsa core, and then model airplanes or various things that use balsa. But yeah, so they only take 10%, and it's a cool. They carve them into these sticks, and they glue them together. So every now and then you'll get a Rapala that will maybe suspend, or it won't float quite as much. And sometimes that'll be that where the glue was, which are oftentimes, those are the ones, if you look in Mike's box, he'll have a little X on some of them, and those are the tournament ones. But yeah, it's a real precise process that was developed over a lot of years. And it's having people that pay attention. The people over in Finland are really, really good. They pay attention to detail, and it's just, you got to have the right people over there paying attention to that stuff, picking out the right wood, because otherwise it's just not going to be consistent. And there is some variation. You can't avoid some. Yeah. But as a whole, to mass produce balsa baits, it's pretty magical what our factory in Finland does.
I imagine it's a lot like when they bring them tuna to the markets, and guy plunges it, and they grade it.
Yeah. Yep.
Something like that, maybe. I don't know.
B+.
Yeah, it's a whole science unto itself, and I don't know the actual specifics, but I've been there and observed, and it's impressive. It's very impressive.
Well, I had heard that balsa was at a shortage because of the windmills, and that the advancement of that. And I was thinking about you as you were responding to that, but I'm fascinated. You guys have your own forest. That's unbelievable. I didn't realize that was part of what Rapala was doing.
It's the magical Rapalian forest. We should take a
they got
trip.
shad wraps growing off of trees.
Yeah. They're like made of candy and stuff. You just pluck them off.
All right. Does Sasquatch live in that forest?
Shad wraps are coming out.
Yeti or something.
What time of year does the DT6 demon bloom in that forest?
That's spring, bro.
Yeah, March, April, usually.
For sure.
Fair enough.
For sure.
DT20 comes around in late June.
Right.
DT Senny, Disco Shads. Oh, the Disco Shad bloom is amazing this year.
Oh, that's such a great social post.
Yeah.
We need to see those
It's
balsa
so tall.
trees sprouting DT6s and DT20s.
It's beautiful. I can see it.
Yeah, that would be some good stuff. Yeah.
I love that stuff. Do you got more questions, Riz or Alex?
Yeah, I got one here. It's Sinclair Fishing wants to know what are some of the sparks or the motivation for Rapala to come up with all of the new and unique colors?
Well, it's honestly, I got to do those with the pros, and it was really cool. Long story, it's basically being around these guys fishing tournaments and getting out in the boat with them and actually fishing with them and talking to them, digging through boxes and just seeing, a lot of guys are custom painting baits, this and that. And my goal is to try and make baits that you take out of the package, you tie them on, and you go fishing with. And whether that's a top tournament pro or it's me or it's you or it's anyone. So that's kind of the goal. And seeing that when you have a great bait, there's, you can only reinvent the wheel so many times, but you can add cool new colors to a great bait. So that's kind of was the strategy with that. There's so many cool new colors. We made all those great colors with Ike's custom ink.
Right.
And those were 8 or 10 or 12 maybe we have that are great new colors, but there's so many more. And you kind of just like, oh my gosh, look at all these colors we could do. And you kind of whittle them down. You meet and say, what do you guys think? Well, there's 4 or 5 guys that really like this color. And long story short, you kind of bring that to the table, and we put our own Rapala spin on. We have some real great color guys in Finland that we kind of share my research and development with them. And
Do
then
they look like
come
Oompa
back
Loompas?
with samples, and now we did 5 new ones in OG Slim, which we brought into the DTs, and now we did another set of 5 in Tiny, which some of them actually have all of them. Like, this is probably one of the coolest, craziest new colors we've ever done. Oh my! And that's Kusa Special.
Yeah, turn it.
And
Let me see the belly. Yeah, it says BTC. See it right there.
So that's kind of one of those garage shop colors, which if you look at this, it's probably one of the only Rapala baits that you'd say, that's a custom painted Rapala, but it's not. It's a garage shop type look, the fishnet kind of lacing on it. Some guys call it pumpkin seed. It's one of those, but it's cool that I see it in enough guys' boats. They've got this crazy color. Like, what the heck is it? It looks like a walleye color. But so bring it to the table. Now we've got it out in these baits, and it's cool. It's fun. It's fun to bring out new colors that work, and people always you got to have new colors. So
What speaking of new, what are you guys working on? What can we expect to see at ICAST? Can you let anything out of the bag? What's cooking at Rapala right now?
Well, we've had 2 OG baits in 2 years, so there's a pretty good chance there'll be another OG bait.
So Odd is still pretty busy in the garage.
We're keeping him busy whittling in his garage.
He's over in Finland right now.
Yeah. There's always some cool new stuff coming, but new OG baits. And
well,
not to get too ahead of ourselves, the one we haven't talked about that I'm sure everyone who likes bass fishing has caught wind of is that
DT8.
Yeah,
that's one that for years and years I've wanted, and I think everyone's wanted.
Dan,
we all want that.
Pete just took a big breath. He took and exhaled. It was amazing.
Like, come on.
Can I have 10 of them in old school?
You go right from 6 to 10. We need the 8.
Yeah.
And here it is.
There it is, Pete.
Here it is. Yep, body of a 6, a little smaller bill like a 10, and woo, it's a good one. I mean, I'm saying it, but everything we're introducing right now, we're not introducing lots of things. They're very, very, there's a good reason we're doing them. And they're quality fish catching lures, and I love that. I love that plan. Each one's very meaningful. So a DT8, it's having fished it quite a bit. It's an amazing bait. It's probably the most snagless crankbait in the whole lineup. It dives. It gets down, and it'll get deeper than 8 if you throw it. You'll notice that pretty quick. But it dives at such an angle that the hooks are up here, and it's. I watched Gerald Swindle throw it in this giant, dead old laydown tree, and he could not get it hung up. Whoa. It was impressive. It's going to be a good one. It's definitely going to be one of the keepers in the
I could get it
line.
hung up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't.
I know I could.
How does it do coming through 70-pound braid wrapped around branches? Red Cajun line.
Christmas tree lights.
It's 50-50,
New Jersey. You got to fish tires and Christmas tree lights.
That's a hard one to come through. But it seems like operates in that depth zone, and I love the wiggle wort. Dan, and I use that bait a lot. So the DT8 seems like it operates.
Guys are catching them on it
right there in that zone.
Yeah. Well, if you brought up another one, and we've got yet a third one is the wiggle wort. We've got the deep wort.
Yes.
Ooh.
And that'll hit that. I've seen it hit 13 on a cast.
That's the planner's wort.
And I know you love these things, Pete. But oh man, this is another good one. This one took 2 years to make. It looks like we just made the bill a little bit bigger, but a lot went into it to keep it stable enough to be able to fish and cast and not blow out. I'm pretty excited about this one too. But it's a deep wort. A wiggle wort's a wiggle wort. You can't deny that. And a one that goes about 4 feet deeper it's a good one.
It's going to be a pretty effective tool, Dan, and it's been awesome having you on. And as always, we love having you with us. But we got to keep you with us, because we got a trivia question that only you know the answer to. And I'm going to throw it over to you to Stockel BTC because I screwed up the original question apparently. And what's the question? What's the trivia question?
I don't know, Dan. What's the question?
the question. Well, I know we know the question.
I can pull it out. You got the answers for both 2 and 3, right?
I believe so.
I want to know what the.
Yeah, I got it.
Go ahead. You spit it out.
What's the number 2 and 3 top selling SKUs for Rapala?
Is that color or just?
Damn it, Pete! You messed one up. I go mess this one up.
Well, come on. You can't say SKU.
I said SKU.
You're talking about
SKU.
color when you do that,
Dan. Well, Dan.
So we're just talking about bait. You don't have to be color specific.
Just style of bait.
All right, style of bait.
Style of bait.
Style of bait. Number 2 and number 3.
Got to get both of them.
Every single lure we make, the best-selling color is and always will be silver.
Wow! Get out of here. Silver with black back.
Yep. Yeah, that was the one.
That's amazing.
Guys, we need the details on this. We need the details. I actually saw the.
We don't need color.
No, we don't need color, but we need the sizes. We need the sizes. I saw the baits come in, but I don't see the name. I don't see the sizes on there.
What do you think?
Let's be specific.
The original floating minnow.
Okay.
What would be number 2? It couldn't be the DT6. It couldn't be that.
Why couldn't it?
Well, maybe it could.
That should be number 1.
Maybe it could. But
right. True.
I'm thinking about guys walking into a tackle store in southern Quebec and looking at the shelf and they're buying something and the same guy walking,
V-neck shirt, a lot of chest hair.
Well, I don't know. Maybe so.
Nice tin cup.
I'm thinking about the guy walking into the mom and pop tackle store. What's he buying? What's catching his eye? And what is he buying?
Cigarettes, beer, and ice.
And and a original floating minnow.
Poutine.
And
Poutine.
And
what's second and third? Oh my gosh. Poutine. Do we have a correct answer yet, Chris?
Nope.
Wow.
Definitely poutine.
I don't know. I can't imagine.
Where's the jig come into play?
The ice jig.
I don't know. The ice jig's not international yet enough.
Really? But it won #1, Dan. It was like the top seller one year.
Or is it? Or did I just start everybody?
Dan's not giving away nothing.
Yeah, it was #1 for an entire year. So.
But it's not the answer to this question.
I don't know. I don't know the rules of this.
Well, while they ask, I can tell you this. We talked a lot. Seth uses the hook with the split ring. Yes. And that was a big question. A lot of people are talking about it. That from VMC, that's the advantage that Seth has. He says that this lands more fish for him. It allows the bait to work more freely and catches more fish. That was a huge addition to the VMC lineup. He loves it. Are the other guys throwing it too?
The ring wide gap.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, honestly, no.
Good.
It's a Seth deal. Yeah, he swears by it. Obviously it works. It's funny because it was a thing in saltwater we tried. It kind of failed, and then in bass, it works. Seth loves it. Some guys love it.
That's the recommended hook for the gilly. Right, Dan? So, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. That's the hook.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. The ring wide gap. Yeah.
Right.
No, it gives stuff a lot more action.
Yeah.
It's funny. No, Seth's talked about it. He's been open. He's not trying to hide it. But I haven't caught wind of a lot of guys. I'd say more guys they're very much into the straight shank. Seems almost all the time. So.
Dan, did you ever see that knot Seth ties with the 3 tag ends on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh man, it was a classic. I think it was Hartwell back before the split, and he had that in his boat. And I just saw a post.
Well, it's like the San Diego Jam knot, right?
I don't know. Is it?
Well, a lot of that's got the 3 tag ends.
Is that what it is? No.
Yeah. Right?
Same thing?
I don't know.
Yep.
No.
I think it is.
That's just a lot of ruckus, man. I don't know.
All right, we're gonna have to backtrack here. On a winner.
Did you get lost?
No. I'm just not seeing it.
Well, blame Pete.
Seeing it coming in for the
#2 bait.
For the exact. So we're gonna broaden it
Right.
out a little bit.
What?
And if somebody gets it right, it'll.
All right.
I can't believe Dan. I got to be honest. We have Ken Duke on the show, who has the most brilliant trivia questions ever.
Googleable.
And, well, some are, some aren't.
True.
And our guys get them instantly. We've never had a question go this long.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
So the answer, Mr. Higgs got it right. I'm going to give it to him. Is the answer that he gave was a shad wrap and a jigging wrap.
True.
Those are the 2 SKUs. The fine-tuned details to it, and I'm just going to scroll through, make sure that it didn't come in again. But the fine-tuned details we were looking for was a shad wrap 7 and a jigging wrap 7. But Mr. Higgs, you got the 2 baits right together in the same IM. They were spelled correctly, so you made my life easy, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate
so, Mr. Higgs, I got you, dog. You got some crankbaits headed your way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right on, man.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
It's tough, as a bass fisherman, you get so entrenched in the bass world, but there's so many people that just fish in general, and a shad wrap and are real successful lures. They're great lures for bass, walleyes, peacock bass, Xander overseas, like those big global worldwide hits are like the floater and a shad wrap and a jigging wrap.
Yes.
So those consistently are always 3 of our very best sellers.
Wow. Well, it's great info, and great guest. Congratulations on your win. And it's interesting because we were just talking about Roland Martin going, fishing down in southern Florida, but Al Linder is in the same class. He's still getting it every day, isn't he?
Al is absolutely amazing. So just like Roland and just like Ron was, yeah. No, Al he can't wait for the ice to thaw out. He's out looking for bites and filming shows, and yeah, I mean he lives for it, and he's amazing at it. Yeah. He's a special a special guy for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
You don't have a name that big for that long by accident. You know what I mean?
Nah. Well, he's done so much in the sport and done so much with Rapala. It's awesome. And,
it's pretty wild.
You know, and you're doing great stuff, Dan, and we appreciate you coming on the show and sharing with us and having fun. And I appreciate you talking about the ice jig and giving that stuff up, man. That is so unique, and I can't wait to when the ice melts. I can't wait to get out and start working for that kind of bite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole other can of worms. It's a whole other show. I mean, Cody Huff, you have to have him on sometime, and he'll go into it. But yeah, it's cool. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on. I love it. I love talking fishing and baits, and it's fun. It's fun, especially when there's so much cool new stuff happening and evolving. I really appreciate it and get into it. So it's fun.
Dan, you gonna take us out the song?
Well, we gotta do a Facebook. We still gotta give one more thing away. We want to give that away with Dan on, and then we'll just wrap it up and close with him, or
Stan's favorite song.
What's your favorite song?
Come on, Pete.
Brian and I like to sing "Sweet Caroline" together.
Oh, is that right? All right.
while walking through the forest in Finland.
Oh my God, dude! Oh my God!
While the DT6s are hanging from the branches.
What a beautiful dream that is! Wow!
It's snowing ice jigs.
That's amazing.
All right.
This had to be at an event, probably. This had to be at an event, the singing.
What do you got, Riz?
All right. Yeah, we got a Facebook like and share winner. It's through the randomizer. It is in Sean Forrest. Congratulations, Sean Forrest. You are tonight's Facebook like and share winner, my brother. You just won 6 DTs and OG Slim Crankbaits.
Yes. Outstanding. Thank you very much for providing those baits for us, Dan, and thanks for all you do with Bass University. Oh, my gosh, we cannot wait until we're back in the classroom next year.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I hope I can get to one.
I hope so. I hope so, too. We'll let you know, and thanks so much for joining us. And, Brian, do you got it queued up?
I do.
Won't be able to boost this post on Facebook.
I know, I got to kill it. It's funny.
Copyright infringements on my side.
Yeah. We need the acapella version, man.
Never mind all the spam, messages you get and accounts that hit you up, but don't play Sweet Caroline because Facebook will come get you.
Yeah.
Our YouTube's getting hammered by Russian bots, and don't play Sweet Caroline.
Promoted on every channel in the world.
Freaking world.
Man, make people happy.
I love it. Well, Dan, thanks so much for joining us, and we will catch up with you next time. We're probably going to do another visit with you sometime this summer, and we'll see you at the Classic for sure, buddy.
That's right.
Absolutely. Sign me up. No, look forward to seeing you guys at the Classic. Thanks for having me on. It was fun.
You bet.
Man,
Dan Quinn,
thank you.
Rapala,
As
thank
always,
you, man.
Great times.
Oh, what the hell?
Appreciate it. Sweet Caroline.
Love
it.
Too good.
Love it. But well, thanks so much.
Thanks to everybody.
Everybody for the questions, and thank you, CD, for coming in and hanging out with us.
It's cool being here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We fished our first buddy tournament on the Potomac River, wasn't it? Was it that?
Potomac or Delaware? One of the two.
One of the two?
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we fished
Plug
together.
was out of the boat. Put the boat in without a plug.
Alex.
We did that?
Yeah, we did that.
Where did we do that at?
Potomac.
Alex, we got any outstanding things, observations from tonight on the social media channels, or you personally? I'm sorry you were tucked away all night long.
No, it's all good, Brian. We had a lot of good comments come in, lots of great questions for Dan. People enjoyed the Balsa talk. I think there's always a lot of crankbait heads roaming around YouTube nowadays, so we appreciate everyone tuning in, all the comments. There was definitely a lot of guessing fests going on all sides for the giveaway. Took people a while to get that one hammered down, but yeah, nothing too crazy happened. No bots, nobody hacked us, so we got through the live show safe and
I saw them
safe and sound.
I saw them on YouTube.
I saw a couple, but I tried to kick them out pretty quick, so I think I did a good job.
You did a great job,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you.
Thank
You're in the military, Alex. Do you have any commando stories?
Run around with
I
no
do,
underwear
Pete,
on?
but I think we'll save that for a
Come
Zoom
on,
seminar
man.
sometime. We'll have to put that one behind a paywall.
We gotta start Bash You Live after hours.
Yeah.
For these kind of stories. We're gonna start swapping those kind of stories. We might need to up the ante a little bit for the buy-in. You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on. Jacqueline
Oh, yeah.
pulled it off, and she was, PG. She
Oh,
pulled it
this
off.
one's not PG, Pete. It was nuclear.
Come on. Now you're not getting off the air without giving us a taste of this. What do you got, Alex?
So I'd say, long story short, when you eat MREs for about 4 days, you get pretty plugged up and you get ready to go home. You start chewing on some of the laxative gum, and you're just sitting there waiting for the bus to pull around the corner, and you let one go, and next thing you go, it's going right up your lower back. So we'll leave it there. And
You got to get on the bus.
Don't leave it there. What happened? What'd you do?
made a quick run into the restroom, did a little swap, and there's might be a nuclear waste site somewhere in southeastern Indiana that the world will never know about. That's all I'll leave it at.
Oh, that's the best.
2 shows in a row. We got poopy stories.
Dude,
come right in at the end.
You remember McGraw's story from Champlain?
No.
John McGraw.
Yeah.
So we all took a trip to Champlain, and McGraw, John, our buddy of ours, John McGraw, was up there, and he was eating ham and cheese sandwiches all week. And like 4 or 5 days into it, he was like, he hadn't gone yet, and he was really bound up. And
you already know.
And he,
ham and cheese for a whole week.
And he realized he had to leave early, and because he just wasn't feeling well. So he drives all the way back to Jersey, and to Sunday, hangs out with his roommate at the time and drinking beers, and like finally falls asleep Sunday night, like 2 a.m. it hits him, and it's like boom, it's go time, and in the dark he makes his way to the bathroom like, oh, shit's going down, and he gets to the bathroom, and And as it's happening, something's wrong down there, and he realizes there's something wrong, and he has to go in to investigate. He has to get.
I remember this story.
He has to get manual on it. This isn't taking care of itself. He's got to assist in this, and he just starts pulling. Out of his
the plastic
from the ham.
Oh my God!
He's got to take the plastic off all week.
He was really hungry.
I guess the deli slicer didn't take the plastic off the ham.
Oh my God!
Oh, man. Something your dog would do.
I'm gonna say the amount of times I've had to do that to my dog.
Yeah.
Come on, McGraw. What the hell, man?
That's nasty.
Johnny had to do it to himself.
Started at Champlain. He's got a rough track record up there. Man. I watched him just drive straight over a shoal. Like it was like out of the water. He didn't have ham and cheese to blame on it this time, though.
There's no blaming ham and cheese.
Just
for that.
drove right over a shoal. It was marked on the graph. Don't drive here. Maybe he was thinking about ham and cheese. I don't know.
Good Lord. Jacqueline Cherry, see what you started?
Oh, my God.
That's great.
It's going to be a repeat performance here on the next Bashing Live.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's great stuff. Thank you for sharing that story with us, Alex. We had to drag it out of you, but it was awesome. Appreciate you, man.
Glad you got a good laugh out of it, Pete. I think I enjoyed seeing you laugh about those stories more than I enjoyed telling it. So glad we could keep it entertaining.
That was some good stuff. We got more to come. And we're gonna be. We're back next week, and then we have a week off, right?
Probably, maybe. Yeah.
Yes, we'll be back next week, and then we got a lot coming up, guys. We're gonna be down at the Elite Tournament down at the St. Johns River. So if you're a subscriber, come by and see us. We have a Bash U tent down there. We got a lot of great stuff, and we've always wanted. Here's a really cool thing just happened today. We haven't been able to work with Keith Combs, one of the greatest anglers on the planet, with a tremendous specialty in working the big crankbait and a lot of some other stuff too. But we're going to be able to hopefully work with Keith Combs this year because we're going to be on site at the Bassmaster tournament down at the St. John's
Did
River.
somebody communicate with them?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm not just, throwing
Fine.
it out there.
Gotta
I'm
cover,
just saying. I'm excited about it because we've always wanted – he's wanted to work with us. We want to work with him. But it seems like we're going to be able to make it work out. Hopefully there at St. John's, if not one of the upcoming elite tournaments. And look forward to doing that. So come by and see us if you're a subscriber. If you're not, come by and see us. We got something cool for you. We want to try to get you part of the
If you
program.
ain't a subscriber, get your life together.
Yeah, right? Come on.
What the hell?
You're going to be a better angler. You're going to learn. How do you do a bed, Riz? Lanes.
Lanes. Break it down by lanes.
You're going to learn how to break down a bed by lanes. I mean, nobody else is teaching that. We got the corner on that market.
Hold on. So you're close to 1,000 seminars in the Bass University library, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where would you rank
Drew Cook?
Thank you. Drew Cook's seminar on bed fishing.
Oh, well, compared to other bed fishing seminars?
Compared to the library.
Well, compared to other bed fishing seminars, it's tied with number. I just don't. It's the top. It's really, really good. It's the top bed fishing seminar. There's more detail there than I've ever heard before. There's things. I've been doing this 30 years. I've never heard before.
You've been doing it longer than that, dude.
Well, that's true. Dad took me when I was 5.
Yep. There you go.
Anyway. Really, really good stuff. Overall seminars.
Just throw a number out there.
Overall, as far as its ability to help anglers catch fish in this, it's top. It's top 5%. It's top 5.
Yeah,
it's up there.
So you're at 1,000 or going to be at 1,000?
Well, we're going to pass 1,000 next couple months.
You're going to have a celebration of that?
We should.
I mean, that should be.
Probably not, Just
Probably not.
Hey, by the way,
we're trying to get
next couple months.
That's a milestone.
By the way I see it, it'll be like I don't know, mid-May.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, by that time, I think it's mid next couple of
That's
months,
a perfect,
3 months.
That's a perfect time to go up north and fish
get on
like
the road.
Thousand Islands or.
Pete, I was gonna keep the cost low. I was just gonna say, let's all just go out to the flats
and get some pizza.
Have a good day. You know what I mean? Yeah.
When we pass 1,000, we were going to have something special.
Yeah,
have a big catfish fry.
We've been thinking about it and talking about it for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a big deal. But, yeah, good stuff. Go, get
Alex,
subscribed.
Yeah, Alex will send you a bus ticket for that trip.
Yeah.
I'd rather walk.
Thumb it. So I'll take my chances on the open road.
He's going to ride the magic carpet that he has hanging.
Ride the magic carpet. That's great. Alex's magical carpet.
God.
What were those daily rations called?
MREs.
MREs.
Yes.
We'll give you some of those and throw you on the bus. You'll be there before you know.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Gotta get Steve Donis to draw Alex riding the magic gas carpet. That's awesome, man. Yes. All right, Alex. You know what time it is, bro.
Yeah.
Pete?
Alex,
I've been hearing something about this closeout.
Well, no,
What's
the
going on?
closeout.
I
Closeout's the end. The end.
experience
So
it.
we're gonna wrap it all up, and then my man's got the last word. So.
Alex, let's give it a. We'd love to have you down at the Classic this year. So give
us
me a
your-
shout. We'll touch base with you this week.
Yeah, give
if
us
you're
your-
able. We've tried to do that before, but you're a pretty busy guy.
Yeah, give us your excuse. What time's the call this week?
Pretty busy week this week.
All right, next week Tuesday about 10 o'clock.
Alex can get me anytime. He knows.
Yeah.
Busier next week.
Pete, I got good news for you. I think I'm all out of excuses. I might have to get my butt down to South Carolina.
Yeah, come on with it.
Folks at home, let it be known that Travis Manson and Smallmouth Crush did not offer Alex a trip to the Classic.
Let it be known.
Or even invite him. All right.
Hey,
You can stay with me in BTC, and then you might not want to come back.
That's right. But
Hey, thanks, Alex. Thanks, BTC. Thanks, Riz. Thanks, CD, Eco Bass Angler. Appreciate all you guys for hanging out with us. Thanks, Dan Quinn, for sharing the night with us. Appreciate you, as always. We're going to be back next week with another Bass University Live. Get yourself subscribed. 60 days free. It's going to run out. It's this time of year. Go over to bassu.tv. Get yourself subscribed. I'm Pete Gluzik for Bass University. We'll see you next week.